This is Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
The Phillies just don't lose. They don't lose. They took care of business again last night. They beat the Rangers. They sweep the Rangers. The 7th sweep already for the Titans this season. It's May 24th. This is unbelievable.
Stop lying to the people. This can't be true.
This is all true, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to bathe in the success of the Phillies. We'll have some Sixers conversation and a whole lot more. It's Kincade Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
This is Kincade Salciunas.
Stars in cities, especially like Philadelphia, they are always on the map, and we should expect more winning out of them.
And we'll go to the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. I am a believer that your best player, I think there is also a responsibility as the team spokesperson.
Kincade Salciunas. John Kincade, Andrew Salciunas.
97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
And a good Fanatic holiday Friday show day. It's Kincade Salciunas. I don't care how dumb I sound.
Meant to say, or you just stumbling
I don't
through
know,
it?
dude. I'm stumbling because the Phillies just freaking got me fired up. They beat the Rangers again yesterday. They just keep on winning, Johnny.
I meet RJ, one of the fine people at Citizens Bank Park yesterday as I'm leaving the building.
Yes.
And he said, Mr. Kincade, and I had a chance to say hello, and he goes, this is our life now. And it's all I could think of.
This is awesome.
Walking to the car, that a gentleman who's in there at Citizens Bank Park all the time goes, this is our life now.
Yeah.
That we're top dog. We're winning at an incredible rate. We're seeing a team that should be sticking around in our psyche for a while.
Yeah.
It's wild.
They should be.
It's wild. This is very hard to consume because it's so ridiculously awesome.
It's unbelievable. I mean, yesterday you go out there, the chance to sweep the defending World Series champions, by the way. Oh, but they're 24-27 now. I don't care. They won the freaking World Series last year, and you had a chance to sweep them, and you did. You had a ho-hum outing out of Zach Wheeler yesterday. Nothing spectacular because he only had 5 strikeouts, but it gives you 7 strong. And then you get a scoreless inning out of Jose Alvarado, a scoreless inning out of Jeff Hoffman, who gets the save. Phillies get another win. Kyle Schwarber, yesterday didn't get any hits. He had 3 walks. Yesterday he decides to go 2 for 5. JT Realmuto with another home run. Nick Castellanos goes yard, and this is one of the guys that you're just kind of waiting. We talked about this the other day.
Waiting.
Will there be a guy that kind of uplifts his play? I think Castellanos can climb his average up to that 250 range, right, once he has that big month. Maybe we're starting to see it. Alec Boehm doesn't get a hit yesterday.
Well, I think it might be time that they think about sending him down.
Yeah, they should send him down.
Send him down for a little refresher.
The hottest hitter in baseball goes 0 for 4, and yet the Phillies as a team still compiled 12 hits, 3 of which came from Edmundo Sosa, 1 of which came from Whit Merrifield, 2 of which came from Christian Pache. So you're 7, 8, 9, who are all backup players, right? Sosa, the backup to Trey Turner. Whit Merrifield, the utility guy that's more so coming off the bench. Christian Pache, the backup to Yohan Rojas. Those 3 guys batting 7, 8, and 9 put together 6 of your 12 hits, John.
Pache against lefties.
Unbelievable.
And I would imagine he probably gets a start again tonight going up against a tomato can lefty. But it is just amazing that also, you said yesterday about Rob Thompson's credit. He's finding playing time for everybody.
Absolutely.
And now some of it's been by necessity, but a lot of it has been by choice. He is making sure that while they're on a wild run, that everybody's getting their chance to drink.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting their opportunity to feed, which then means everybody comes attentive to the ballpark. Everybody's wild to show up.
Yeah.
Because they feel like they're all a part of it.
And you got to be ready. You got to be ready to play. And to your point, Rob Thompson's been doing that. He's been doing it very well.
And a lot of people, I am never a fan of that, like the Sunday afternoon sort of like give up lineup.
Right.
But he has found ways to make it well on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, especially while things are going well. Get guys playing time.
And
get him in there.
You know what's amazing, John? Like, is there a give-up lineup? Other than, I know Stubbs. I know
Stubbs is part of the give-up lineup.
I know how you feel about him.
Yeah, he's part of the give-up lineup.
I would prefer a better backup catcher as well. Been wanting one since before Andrew Knapp. But anyways, But other than that, I mean,
No.
Sosa doesn't scream give up lineup. Whit
No.
Merrifield doesn't scream give up lineup.
Merrifield's
he doesn't.
Look, Merrifield's off to a horrible start.
Yes, but that he doesn't scream give up lineup.
Absolutely.
Right,
I expected a hell of a lot more for John Middleton's $8 million. Though.
I got you, but he's not.
I think
he's
he'll
not
come around.
Luke Williams. He's not.
No.
With all due respect to Weston Wilson, who hit a home run his first ever at bat last season, the day that Michael Lorenzen threw the no hitter. He's not those guys. Like this guy is an accomplished former All-Star in Major League Baseball, and he's your 8-hitter yesterday. I mean, that shows you how deep this lineup is, and it shows you that there are days where you probably can give a guy a day off, or maybe a guy doesn't have a day off, but goes 0 for 4 like Alec Boehm did yesterday, like Bryson Stott did yesterday, who's been on a tear offensively. There are guys that didn't have a hit yesterday, and yet you still, as a team, had 12, and 6 of which came from the bottom of your order, man.
It's such a deep lineup, and it's a lineup that can beat you too. Can beat you with legs. Christian Pache, and I was sitting with Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports yesterday, covering the game, and we're watching the Pache triple.
Yeah,
and Kerr talks about the fact is there's something about it where he was beyond second when the ball hit off the wall.
Yeah. He busted it out of the box.
He was busting it, and you know why? Because he doesn't play every day. I mean, It may just be his professionalism.
Could be.
But he doesn't play every day. So he's like, I'm going to show what I got, and I'm going to show it. He was at second base when the ball's hitting off the wall. That could have easily been an inside the park home run, but if it had just fallen a little bit different.
Right, a certain way. And, of course, you had the 2 guys on base for that triple.
It was
a two-run triple for Christian Pache. I mean, Christian Pache, man.
It was huge.
This is awesome. It's been so much fun watching this Phillies team play. They get another win yesterday. They're 37-14. They just continue to roll. I saw, the beauty of situations like this, right? When baseball is such a great sport because it's so documented, right? Like you have documents about baseball going back to the 1800s. It's a very, very old sport. So when you see teams have success like this, you see the wild stats. Like it's the first time since then. The Phillies had their 7th sweep, right? They're 29-6 record in the last 35 games, and I credit NBC Sports Philadelphia for putting this out yesterday. Their 29-6 record in the last 35 games equals 1892. The 1892 Fightin' Phils for the best 35-game stretch in franchise history.
That was a good team, too.
Well, yeah, you're locked in on the 1892 Phillies. I mean, think about that. They are doing things, and I did a post for the website yesterday of the milestones that they've reached, the records that they're breaking. I need to update it because now they have the best 35-game stretch since 1892.
The Locked On Phillies podcast back then was actually sent out via paper.
Yeah, it was the Pony Express.
Yeah, the carrier pigeons.
Connor's great-great-grandfather actually hosted it. So this is nepotism.
Yeah.
This shows you nepotism in
Connie James.
broadcasting.
Yeah, Connie James.
And he was the one who did that.
All right, so I have a question today, and it's incredible that RJ was the name.
RJ. And he just say, Mr. Kincade, this is our life now.
Right.
And I was, honestly, as I walked to the car along the back, I guess that's Darien or whatever.
Yes.
I'm walking to the lot. It made me have a pep in my step. Just going, this is special. And you get to see special sometimes.
All right, I'm glad that it gives you a pep in your step. It gives a pep in my step. It's easier to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
It is.
I'm going to talk about the Phillies sweeping the defending World Series champions. But my question today, it's amazing that RJ also said top dog to you.
Yes, he's like, it's that. It's like, he was giddy like Connor.
Right.
Like Connor's energy and everything like that. And it's why I say when you go to Citizens Bank Park, the people there are.
Oh, it's a family. It's such a family-run organization.
Add to
it's
the
great.
scene.
I have a question for the audience. Do you feel comfortable when our teams are this good? Hear me out. My question is, question 1, do you feel comfortable when your team is as good as the Phillies are, or are you one of those fans who's always waiting for the other shoe to drop? And question 2, are you one of those fans who prefers it when the team is the top dog or the underdog? Because you know how this city can be. There's a lot of people that go, yep, this is really great right now. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Joel Embiid dropped 70 points. All right, well, let me see it come playoff time, which is totally fair. I get it. But there's a lot of people that see incredible moments or incredible stretches like this, and you're waiting for it to end instead of basking in the glory of it. I am basking in the glory right now.
I'm basking, but I'm going to answer your question. Yes,
That you're comfortable?
that I'm sort of.
You're
I'm sort
uncomfortable?
Yes, but I'm not uncomfortable in the way that I'm thinking it's going to end badly.
Okay, so what makes you uncomfortable? This is
because
fascinating.
I'm not used to it.
See, I'm
I'm
okay.
not. I mean, like, to me, why this is so energizing and joyous and just weird to me is that I can't think. And I thought the 2008 Phillies won 91 games, I believe, or 90.
Still came down to the end.
The Philadelphia Eagles were 13-3 in 2017.
But you also lost your franchise quarterback.
Like, when I've had great moments, the only time, and I told you, the only time, I was a high school kid, and the Sixers were rampaging through the NBA. So I've never seen a season like this where you just go, wow, because those 2011 Phillies, again, I was a poo-pooer. I didn't like the whole thing.
Which is fascinating.
And it was.
I wish we were doing a show back then.
And it was, and I just
16-year-old Andrew would have just
I was
been
uncomfortable.
freaking out.
I was uncomfortable with the format, but I'm telling you, I'm uncomfortable with it, but not in a bad way.
Right.
I'm uncomfortable with is I almost don't know how to act. It is so much fun that, and I think that there are other guys out there and parents out there and guys that have friends out there that I have seen a spouse of 22 years now going, when did the Phillies play?
Right.
My wife never, ever did that. Ever did she utter the words except if it was Red October.
See, now this is amazing. So
I'm uncomfortable because I don't know how to. But I'm loving every minute of it.
Oh, of course you are.
But I mean, like, I'm not going. Yeah, but in my head, I'm not saying, well, what if they lose on October 5th? I don't give a damn right now. I'm going to enjoy.
Right.
This is going to be. This has a chance to be the summer of George.
Right.
You know, this is the. This
No,
could be.
no. Don't you jinx it by putting it on the Costanza.
No, but this could be. No, it's the summer where you do everything you want to do. You celebrate. You're heading down the shore tonight.
Well, all right.
No, you're heading down the shore at 10:06.
Yeah, dude. I'm
telling you,
I'll be on 76 at 10:06.
And I'm telling you that your first beer is going to taste better.
Absolutely.
The salt air is going to smell better.
And you know what's going to be great? 8 o'clock, sitting in my dad's garage. He's got the TV in the garage.
I think it's 9:30 tonight.
Is it 9:30?
I think it's a late one. It's either 8:30 or 9:30.
9:30, whenever first pitch is.
You're going to sit in the garage
sit
with
in
Dad.
the garage, another drink, nightcap.
That's awesome.
Watch the game with Dad. That's when the Phillies are good and you're down the shore and you go to the local bar or you go to the garage. A lot of people have the garage TV or people just watch on their phones now from like a lawn chair.
How about sitting on a porch down in Sea Isle, Delco of the South, and you've got the game on the radio or on your TV, on your phone or whatever you're watching on an iPad. There's nothing like it.
No, it's beautiful.
There's nothing like it.
8:40, by the way. 8:40
it's
first
8:40.
pitch.
I'm sorry.
So our questions today, do you feel comfortable when your team is this good, or are you one of those fans waiting for the other shoe to drop? Now, John's not waiting for the other shoe to drop.
No.
But you're uncomfortable because you're not used to it.
I'm not used to it.
So I'm one of those guys that I'll go down the shore this weekend. I won't want to come back. Whenever I vacation, I'm good. I would drop what I'm doing. Now, obviously, things have changed with a child, but I could drop everything and just relocate. I could do that in a heartbeat. I could do this every single year. If my Phillies team could win 120 games every single year, I will never feel uneasy. I will never hate it. I will love every second. I won't get tired of it. I can drop everything I'm doing and move. I can drop everything I'm doing as a Philadelphia sports fan and be the top dog.
Only if Christy was wiring you cash.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I mean, she'd have to continue to work.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
She'd have to carry this thing. I never understand the mentality of just not wanting it to, this isn't just, it's not going to end well. When things are going this great, we have so few opportunities in life to just party.
Yes.
This is wild to me. I sat in 95 traffic yesterday towards the Blue Route.
And it didn't hurt as bad.
No, it was absolutely joyous. And I put on some tunes and was just loving life.
Yeah, and we keep on talking about it. This party shouldn't end anytime soon. Colorado? San Francisco, St. Louis. All right, Brewers will be a little tough. The London series is going to be weird. And then you got Boston and Baltimore. But then San Diego, Arizona, Detroit, the Fish for 4. Like, this party should continue for a couple more weeks, man. And even against those good teams. Why should I be scared about those good teams when the Phillies are the best freaking team in baseball? I love this. I would love to hear from you. 610-632-0975. Do you feel comfortable when your team is this good? Because I do. I could live in this glory every single day of my life. I don't wait for the other shoe to drop. I enjoy the moment. I don't think about past failures. I don't think about future potential downswings. I just enjoy the here and now, and I'm enjoying it really a lot right now with this Phillies. And I would prefer, and I'll ask you guys this question, the second question. I want to be the top dog. I'm tired of always looking up
I hate the
to Big
underdog
Brother.
stuff.
I hate it. Like, I'm tired of masks. I know it was great. It was great in 2017. It was such a cool thing that people were a part of.
That was different. It was
totally different.
It was a specific situation where a great season potentially was derailed by a horrible injury.
Right.
It's not. I hate the idea of anyone in life, and I'll tell it, any fan base in life that wants to constantly portray themselves as the underdog.
No.
The only reason they want to do it is, one, you don't believe your team's going to win. So you want a built-in excuse. So you've already set up we weren't supposed to win. We're the underdogs. Or just two, in my mind, you're never going to. I just don't think you're ever going to. You're not a believer. You're
Maybe.
not somebody who's a believer. And I know people, by the way, who aren't believers. The Sixers have done enough damage to me.
Of course they have.
That they've got it. The Phillies last year sucked.
Yes.
That ending sucked. But this Phillies team has given me enough good memories in the bank that I'm in no way going to sit there and go, well, this isn't going to end well. No, this is a different beast. It is a different beast.
All right, Connor, I want you to answer both questions. Are you comfortable when your team, and again, this conversation, let me make this clear. Obviously, we're focusing on the Phillies today. This conversation spans all the teams.
Absolutely.
Right? This is the Eagles. This is the Sixers. This is the Flyers. Connor, are you comfortable, question one, when our teams are this good or a team is this good, or are you one of those fans that's always waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Dude, I am so comfortable right now. Like, you know the expression new money for people who like find their way into money that didn't like grow up around or their family didn't have it, and you got to go through the learning curve of a lifestyle change like that. Dude, if I became new money, I would know exactly how to do it. And I would have no issues.
Well, even if you didn't know exactly how to do it, you'd have more fun spending with your new money than living paycheck to paycheck.
I got all this money.
Connor would be.
I'd be great.
Connor would be the Beverly Hillbillies.
100%, bro.
He'd bougie. He'd go out there and it'd be flash.
Yes,
but
it'd be flash.
My point is, like, we might be new money in this top dog category in baseball right now with the Phillies. They haven't been this good, obviously, for a long time. So that's 2011. I'm so comfortable right now, and I don't know how you couldn't be.
Okay,
embrace it.
I'd see you still driving your car into the ground.
Yeah.
And putting a big bunch of cash in a box in the closet.
Yeah, I'd be
like you would not be. I don't think like the big lottery win would change you.
I
like
would drive
it would
my
change
car.
Connor.
Yeah, I would drive my Honda Civic, 2013 Honda Civic named Carlos until it can't move anymore.
So you name your car?
Carlos. Yeah.
Connor would be more changed.
Lamborghini, baby.
You'd be more like. But there's a day though that Beasley would go, "Where the hell's Andrew?" And he'd just be gone.
It would be
track it
Shawshank Redemption. I would write you guys a postcard, and I'd be working on a boat somewhere. I mean that's and I would do it myself. I wouldn't buy the boat. I would be working on the boat. I said this to you, I think last week. I've never in my life pretended to be cool. If I had $1 billion, I would not fake it and try to be cool. I would be driving my Honda Civic, baby, with all the rust and all the salt that's still on there.
Yeah, I tried to talk you into like the car wash thing.
Who needs it? It rains.
And he's like, yeah, it rains.
It rains, man.
It rains.
Who needs a car wash?
I don't need car wash.
All right, so I want to hear from you. 610-632-0975. Overall Phillies excitement, number one, right? Celebrate it. Enjoy this freaking moment. That's just point number one. But our questions today, do you feel comfortable when your teams are this good? Or are you one of those fans that's waiting for the other shoe to drop? And do you rather be top dog or underdog. I'd rather be top dog. I want to be a dynasty. I want to be the New England Patriots. I want to be any of the best teams in sports. I want a dynasty, damn it.
And I want the pressure that comes with it.
Absolutely.
And it's funny is
that pressure's more fun.
I think we've now found the second thing in like 50 shows that the three of us agree on.
That's great.
This is very rare.
Oh, happy day. We finally made it on a holiday weekend.
There we go.
All right, coming up next, hear from Rob Thompson, who said something during his post-game press conference that I freaking loved, and it just tells you what this team is all about, not just talent-wise, but mentally, their approach this season. We'll get your text messages, your calls as well at 610-632-0975. And we're doing something fun today as it is a Friday going into a holiday weekend.
What is it?
We have a bunch of random questions that we all sent Connor. You, me, Brendan, Haley, Connor himself. And we'll be pulling them throughout the show from a hat. Random questions, sports, non-sports, and we'll discuss them on the show. So we'll do question number 1 coming your way next as well. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic. 6:30 on Kincade and Salciunas on this Friday morning. It's a Fanatic Friday presented by Pumpman Philly for 24/7 emergency repair and pump replacement. Count on Pumpman Philly, the guys to know how to fix your flow. I hope everybody, you know what? I hope a lot of you aren't listening right now.
What do you hope people are? No, I hope they're packing the car.
Well, I hope they're sleeping in.
Hey, what are you trying to do here? I got mouths to feed.
Look, out of the kindness of my own heart, I hope that a lot of you aren't listening right now.
No,
I hope that you took Friday off.
And
you have the 4-day weekend, and you're sleeping right now.
I hope you're packing the car. I hope you're doing a little Wawa run. And then you're getting coffee for
Well,
the
if you're
wife.
doing that, then listen and give us some quarter hours.
Exactly. We love that.
If you're going to listen.
Spend as much time as you can with us.
If you're going to listen, I appreciate it.
Now,
But
Monday, I will give you no time.
Wow, thanks, John. I appreciate it.
I will sleep. Any chance I have to sleep, I will take.
I don't blame you, man. All right, so I hope everybody has a nice holiday weekend coming up. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. At some point today, John put together his I saw it go out yesterday. Your 5 greatest smells of the Jersey Shore. So we're gonna have to get into that at some point.
And of course, I've got 6 emails on it already from people who read it, sending emails
because you're wrong,
arguing with me about like 1 or 2 of them. And I'm like,
about your favorite things.
Smells.
It's you're wrong about your favorite things. I love that stuff.
That's just great. Well, you're wrong on that one. I'm like, really, I'm wrong. My nose.
Well, you were wrong about a lot of the airport beer stuff.
No, I wasn't.
No, you were wrong.
No,
all right, so we'll get into that, and we'll get our first question out of the hat coming up soon. I know we have texts coming in about the Phillies' incredible start, and the questions that we have on hand today. Do you feel comfortable when your teams are this good, like the way the Phillies are, or are you one of those fans that's waiting for the other shoe to drop? And the other question to that, are you one of the fans who prefers being the top dog or the underdog? I am team top dog, baby. All right, give me this. Give me this all the time.
Seriously. Why would you not want your team to be? This is so intoxicating, though.
It is.
It's really weird because I'm just thinking of, I love nothing more than, I love baseball on my app, sitting outside.
Yeah.
I may watch the game tonight on the back deck, bring the TV out and put it on the back deck. I just can't wait.
Dude, I had the first incredible father-son Phillies moment yesterday. I brought him to a game or two.
Right.
I asked him, hey, bud, do you want to watch the Phillies game? Yeah. And then, of course, our internet dropped, and he's complaining. Phillies game. I'm like, I am so proud of you.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun.
So, obviously I went on the phone. So we watched the little Phillies on the phone until the internet kicked back up, and I was able to get it back on the smart TV. But that's where we're at right now. I'm talking about it so much lovingly at home, as is Christy. To your point, the wives that don't normally watch sports are now starting to get into it a little bit.
Christina knows now that she's 8 days from seeing Ranger Suarez pitch
awesome.
in person.
And now the little kiddies are getting into it.
It's great.
It's amazing,
awesome.
man. But before we get to the text reaction and our first question out of the hat, I want to play this from Rob Thompson yesterday. It's just exactly what you want to hear from the manager of a baseball team that has this hot of a start. We played the clip yesterday from 2 days ago when he was asked about the Phillies having the start that the Seattle Mariners had in 2001, and his response was, what did they win? I love that response. Well, there was a similar question asked about the continued success yesterday, and this was his answer.
They're never complacent. They keep fighting. They prepare. They compete. They have a lot of fun on it. They love playing the game. So, yeah, it was a good homestand with big crowds every day, every night. So it's been a lot of fun.
Going out the way they did last year in the playoffs, do you think that helps?
No doubt. No doubt. And the new guys that have come in have bought right into it. There's kind of an edge to everybody. They want to finish it.
I mean, that goes back to what I got out of spring training.
And I'll raise my hand.
That's okay.
And I said it before. I rolled my eyes. I heard it, and I was rolling my eyes going, okay, this is the talking point.
Right.
We're gonna come in with a bigger edge and everything like that. And anything that Larry Boa says sounds like it's coming from like a motivational speaker. Like,
I got you.
He's coming in there. So I'm thinking, okay, this is Bo building it up.
But it was also all the players that said it, and I bought into it, and it clearly is showing that that's exactly what they're doing, and that's why you have a 37-14 baseball team right now, Johnny.
It's so awesome. It's so much fun. And yesterday, and we were all in the ballpark yesterday, you felt it. I've never, at a business person special, have felt the energy of a crowd like yesterday.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get into that, man.
That was
because
crazy.
it was absolutely amazing yesterday. All right, what do we have on the text line there, Connor?
We have a lot of people wanting to check in on this team. People are fired up about
I
the
love
Phillies.
that.
So the first one here, Chris from Morrisville, he brings up, so the second game, hits only came from 1 through 4 in the Phillies lineup. Then the next game, hits from the bottom of the lineup with Stott and Bohm not getting a hit. They can win any way. That's why they're amazing to watch.
Yeah, I told you guys. I'll give you a little personal story. I was one Alec Bohm hit away from a nice little parlay. One Alec Bohm hit. That was it. And I was devastated that he did not get one hit. You know, the hottest hitter in baseball didn't get one hit yesterday.
I think a weekend in Lehigh Valley
I think that's what he deserves.
would really help.
One
Alec.
hit. But to that point, to Chris's text, Alec Bohm, the hottest hitter in baseball yesterday, Bryson Stott, who had an incredible month of May and is continuing to have an incredible month of May, they go for a combined 0 for 8, and yet the team still puts together 12 hits, and 6 of those hits come from your 7, 8, 9 hitters. Edmundo Sosa, 3 for 4. Whit Merrifield, 1 for 4. Christian Pache, 2 for 4 with 2 ribbies. It shows you how deep this lineup is, and I'll say it again. They don't really have a give-up lineup. Right? Like, I know Stubbs is hitting 103 this year.
Well,
but, but other than that, I mean, if Christian Pache has to make a start, I'll be honest, like I felt good with him in the lineup yesterday. And his swings look good yesterday. Now, I'm not doing the whole Pache Rojas thing. It's just I felt good.
Oh, stay off that island.
I felt good when he was in the lineup yesterday, and he proved it.
I can't get over the speed with which he ran the bases yesterday, the desire with which a lot of guys pose and watch.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
and he busted it,
in
man.
today's game. He was at second base off the wall. That would have if that ball takes one little carom, it's the JT Real Muto against the Braves in 2022.
Yep.
It's the inside
and
the
Real
park.
Muto can run for days.
That was
unreal.
a great call. All right, what else do we have on the text line? And then we'll get our first question out of the Wawa hat.
Yeah, Ms. from Northeast Philly
Hello,
checks
Ms.
in and says, I feel comfortable with my team being this good because the truth is, as fans, we just want our teams to win. Yeah, we want them to win the big game, but it's a great feeling when your team wins. The next day is awesome when your team wins. Like Al Davis said, just win, baby.
All right, I love that. All right, we're getting people that are comfortable because I have been doing this for 10 years in this market, right? You've been a Philadelphia sports fan your whole life. You've been doing sports radio. You were in this market. You followed closely when you were in the ATL. You've been back here for, 6 years now? 5, 6?
3.5.
Oh,
just seems longer to you.
Jeez,
It just seems longer to you.
This is only show number 50.
It's unbelievable.
But it's like you get the sense that there are a lot of people that almost feel uncomfortable when these teams are good, not for the same reason you're feeling.
Well, I can tell you, though, I lived through it in my career down south.
Right.
The Braves had the Division they won 14 straight, and they would win the division usually where Labor Day, the division was over. Most times. Very rarely did they get pushed to the last week or two. You knew they were going to the playoffs. You knew they were going to win the division, and everybody there acted like, woe is me. What's going to happen when the playoffs come?
Well, after 14 of them, I get that.
Yeah, but they had won one. I mean, it was just this downtrodden. I love the joy that this Phillies team.
And look, this is also different because yes, they were in the World Series 2 years ago, NLCS last year. Where were we this time last year? Right around a 500 ball club.
Absolutely.
2 years ago, they were well below 500 before they fired Joe Girardi. Right around this time.
Well, they fired Joe Girardi, I believe, the day after Memorial Day.
Yeah, it was right around this time. And then they went on that. I think they went 9-1 in their next 10 games.
It's been Memorial Day, I believe, is the 2-year anniversary of Rob Thompson taking over. And that has clearly worked out for the Phillies.
Absolutely, man.
I'd say that's worked out, that hire.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to have some fun today. We put together a bunch of random questions. It's a Friday heading into a holiday weekend. There are Philadelphia sports-related questions. There's also some life-related questions. There's all kinds of random stuff. And we put it into the Wawa Welcome America hat. I love that.
There we go. Welcome.
That's a good-looking hat right now.
Thank you, Wawa.
All right, Connor, give us our first question out of the hat.
All right, let's see what we got.
And we don't know who.
We do not know who submitted it or whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
We don't know each other's questions.
No.
I know everybody's questions.
Connor,
you do, Connor.
He's the mastermind behind all this.
All right. We work in sports. We have a ton of run-ins with people in sports. What was your worst run-in with somebody sports-related? Oh, all right, boys.
All right, this is my question. I'll just tell you.
It's your
guys.
question.
It's my question, and I have a story behind it.
So you just want to tell us about somebody. What's the dirt?
I'm curious to hear yours.
Because we work in sports.
Now, this did not turn bad. It was just probably a very bad look for a young guy in radio trying to make it. You know? You know how we play knockout?
Yeah,
Sure.
Every single year on the Sixers Wells Fargo Center court. It's been going on pretty much my entire time here. I've been here for 10 years, so it was probably like 8 or 9 years. This might have been the 8th or 9th season we did this. And it started during the process days. And I was in, I may have not even been participating because I was very, very low on the totem pole at this time. And rules have changed at the station, which is great. And I'm watching everybody on the court just missing layups, missing free throws. You see how some shots are very ugly. You know, we're not in the NBA for a reason. And I remember saying to this guy, man, the crazy thing is I bet you half these guys could play for the Sixers right now.
Oh, boy.
I didn't realize I was talking to Scott O'Neal, who was the then president of business operations for the Sixers. He wasn't wearing a suit and tie because he was playing in knockout.
Oh, Andrew.
So he was in just like regular street clothes. And I didn't know it was him, so I told him the story. We kept on talking, you know. Yeah, but there's a vision, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm pro process. It's just, man, these players are really bad. And then somebody goes up to him and goes, Scott O'Neal, good to see you.
Oh.
Not your best.
I just kind of...
Now, you ran into him in years after.
Yeah.
Did you?
I pretended like it never happened.
Little amnesia.
I want your answers coming up next, okay? Now that you can think about a little bit more of a story. So coming up next, you're running with an athlete or anybody in sports. It may be another media person for all I know. Your worst.
Mine is.
You're okay, great. Your worst run-in. I want to hear your stories coming up next. And also, I want to applaud you, Philadelphia. John mentioned it. The crowd was amazing yesterday. The national media always tries to beat us down. Well, I want to build us up because what I saw yesterday at Citizens Bank Park on a Thursday afternoon in May needs to be applauded. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Saquon Barkley speaks.
97.5 The Fanatic. Today, all kinds of stuff that we'll be discussing, but we're also going to be having some fun pulling some questions out of a hat. And I'm going to get John and Connor's answers in a second. The worst run-in you had with somebody involved in sports during your career. And mine was Scott O'Neill. I didn't know it was Scott O'Neill because I was very young in this industry, so why would I know somebody from the business side of the Sixers, especially during the process? And I basically told him that the people that were participating in our Fanatic Knockout could make the Phillies roster right now.
Could make the Sixers.
And he kind of laughed it off, and then somebody introduced themselves to Scott O'Neill, and then I realized it was Scott O'Neill, so I did the Homer Simpson gif where you kind of just in the bushes. Yeah, that was me. But before I get your stories, I just want to applaud the Phillies fans yesterday. We were all there in attendance. John, you and I got there pretty early. It was the weather day.
Ricky Metallico teaching kids about clouds and storms.
It's amazing. There was a sellout crowd for a Thursday afternoon game in May. Not June, not July, not August when school's out. In May.
That was nuts.
Over 40,000 people in attendance. Another sellout crowd. Jeff Hoffman put out a tweet yesterday saying how there's nothing like Citizens Bank Park. Kyle Schwarber put out a tweet celebrating the Phillies fans that were in attendance. I mean, it's getting to the point where now the players are tweeting out about the crowds in an afternoon game in May, dude.
It was incredible.
It's unbelievable. So I want to just give a shout out to the Phillies fans that are showing up day in, day out, night in, night out. You heard Rob Thompson, that clip that we played last segment. He pointed out the fans. Fans are being recognized from the individual players and coaching staff of Citizens Bank Park. I saw our buddy John Brazier yesterday.
Saw Brazier, too.
I asked him, I was like, is your job more difficult when things are going like this? He said, a good busy. Right, because now more people want to be involved. More celebrities want to be involved. Who was the rapper that Brandon Marsh quoted? You're hip. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not.
Did you say
caught
hip?
up on that one?
Yeah, I'm not hip.
You're not hip.
No, I'm
just
not.
using the term hip.
But Brandon Marsh quoted him during Sunday Night Baseball, and the agent of the rapper actually reached out to Brazier and said, hey, can my guy meet Brandon Marsh? Like, that's cool. When the team is doing that well, celebrities want to be involved, more people are going. So credit to you, Philadelphia fans, for showing up and making Citizens Bank Park just an incredible place to be.
It's a beautiful place. And by the way, too, credit again, and I said it multiple times this week, I think the staff at Citizens Bank Park is from ticket takers to the guards.
Oh, they're amazing.
I don't know what it is. Like, it's just it's a culture thing.
It's a great organization, dude.
But it's been a culture thing when the team really wasn't performing.
And a lot of them are also Phillies fans.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We know our man Dave from
Sure.
Ben Salem. He's a diehard Phillies fan who's now an usher.
Well,
that's awesome.
He's a fan of every Philly team to a point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's Boss Man D-Lo, by the way.
Boss
Just to give him some
D-Lo.
love.
I knew that.
I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
no, I just forgot.
All right, Connor, John, I want your story.
Stuart Scott.
Oh, what?
The legendary. Yeah.
Don't you dare do this to me.
Legendary Stuart Scott. I was doing my radio show in Atlanta, and I think it was the 10,000th Sports Center.
Booyah!
And they were bringing on Stuart Scott, offering him to come on to shows and do interviews. So it was after Stuart Scott had a famous incident at the Super Bowl where he told Ray Lewis after the murder that he was involved with the people that were involved with.
Allegedly.
Down in Atlanta. No, that he was involved with.
Yeah.
He was found.
We're just going to slap an allegedly anyway.
He was not the murderer, but he was involved with the murder.
Yes.
That he was down there, and Stu Scott at the Super Bowl on media night literally takes him aside and goes, "Don't worry about them," to Ray Lewis, to just kiss Ray Lewis's ass and to get an interview with him and to say, like, ignore them. So I had called him a jock sniffer.
Oh. Wow.
And I would say, Stu Scott was coming on.
Okay.
And I said to Buck at the time and my program director, if he comes on, I have to say on the air that I've called him a jock sniffer for that.
I give you credit for doing that.
Well, you can't do it. You can't say it and then not say it. So he came on the air. And I said, Stu, I got to tell you, I have referred to you as a jock sniffer. I was there in person on media day when you literally took Ray Lewis aside and told him, don't worry about them. I said, Stu, you're one of us. You're not one of them. You're one of us. You're not one of them. So stop licking boots of players. We got into an argument.
I can imagine
on air that the program director just said, stretch. We went 22 or 23 minutes, an afternoon drive in Atlanta, but we ended up somehow ending it where it was somewhat civil at the end, but it was very contested.
Oh, I imagine.
Fast forward to years later when I get brought onto the network to start working at ESPN Radio.
Yeah.
I'm up in Bristol, and I get introduced to Stuart Scott. He's having lunch, and he says, "You got a minute?"
No.
And I go and take my tray and walk over and sit with Stu Scott. It was an uncomfortable 5-10 minutes of conversation.
Yeah.
And we became friends after. And then when Stu got cancer, he reached out.
Yeah.
And we got to talking about, look, I've been through cancer. He was going to go through cancer. And we ended up being good friends.
Well, that's amazing. I'm glad that it ended up
but it was very uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah, I imagine. You basically
really
called the guy a bootlicker.
Wait, what? No,
And
I didn't basically call him it. I called him it. Nothing, but he was a great dude, and we worked it out.
Amazing.
And he says, I am not a jock sniffer. We played that a million times.
Oh, did you?
Oh, we played that drop a million times.
We get Connors next. I can't wait to hear Connors. And we will continue the conversation, reset the show as we always do at the top of the hour. And the Sixers, believe it or not, are rumored to have interest in every single player in the world. I'll read you a great story from Jake Fisher, who does a tremendous job covering the NBA. All the players the Sixers will be intrigued by, I'll tell you about them next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Holiday weekend Fanatic Friday, presented by Pumpman Philly for 24/7 emergency repair or pump replacement. Count on Pumpman Philly, the guys to know to fix your flow. Here's what we got coming up this hour. So we have our Phillies montage. I put Brendan Gunn to work the last 2 days. I figured why not continue it tonight or today?
It's been working.
After another win yesterday, Phillies complete the sweep of the Texas Rangers yesterday. You'll hear from some of the sounds from yesterday's win for the Phillies coming up at 7:30. In this segment, we'll pull another question from the hat of random questions that we have for today's show.
Hopefully they're shorter answers.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's all of us. No, it's all of us.
We still got to get Connor's worst run-in with somebody sports-related since getting the jobs that we have. And then also, this segment, jam-packed. A lot of names that the Sixers are in on, according to Jake Fisher. Like pretty much every single player available. There's your spoiler. I'll tell you exactly what Jake Fisher has to say coming up in a little bit. But what we've jumped off on talking about today, the Phillies sweep the Rangers yesterday. They're now 37-14. 7th sweep already of the season, which is just incredible. It's their best 35-game stretch that they're on right now since 1892. They set a record, franchise record, which dates back to 1883 for most wins through 50 games. They did that yesterday. This Phillies team just continues to roll. They beat everybody in front of them. They now go into Colorado, which they should take care of business against the Rockies as well. My question for you guys today at 610-632-0975 is whether or not you feel comfortable when your team is this good, any of the teams, Phillies, Flyers, Eagles, Sixers, or are you one of those fans that waits for the other shoe to drop? Now, John, you're not waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're just uncomfortable because you're not used to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the uncomfortable nature of it is just based on I'm just not used to it. But I refuse to be one of those people worrying. I can't worry about October.
I can't worry about May 24th. I'm happy right now.
I'm not going to miss June, July, and August and September worrying about, well, what if October doesn't deliver what we want? You know what? This may deliver so far. This early season has delivered better than any early season of baseball I can ever imagine. So
absolutely,
when I check the standings on Memorial Day on Monday, while you guys work, I will feel an energy about it that's different than it's ever hit me.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's literally historic.
It's beautiful.
Right? It's literally historic. Their best 50-game start in the history of the franchise with their win 2 days ago, and then it continues yesterday. And then our other question is whether or not you prefer being the top dog or the underdog when it comes to your teams. I know a lot of you bask in the underdog thing. I bask in being the top dog. Give me the stars. Give me I don't need that's why I'm always ready to trade prospects for proven players in Major League Baseball. That's why I want stars in the NBA, even though it hasn't necessarily worked out for the Sixers. But I would want better players. I want better everything. I am a millennial. Give me the best. Give it to me now. I don't want to wait. I don't want to be patient. Right now, the Phillies are providing all of that for me as we speak. I'd rather be the top dog than the underdog. What do we have coming in on the text line about our topics today, Connor? And then we got to get your story about your worst run-in since you've become a member of the Philadelphia sports media.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe in Levittown checks in, says, the Sixers have damaged me too much, but I'm comfortable with the Phillies and the Birds when they play like this. Not at all with the Sixers. So interesting, it's different per team.
I don't think it's interesting.
Different for me.
Like the Sixers have beaten us up.
Absolutely.
Like they've beaten us up. And I am still angry with the people that called in the day after Embiid scored 70 and your first thought was look at the standings or what is it going to do for me come playoff time when he's hurt? Like enjoy the 70, enjoy the historic night. It was a historic night.
Please enjoy it.
But for anybody that doesn't want to get their hopes up for a Sixers team, I don't blame anyone.
No, the Sixers have wounded you desperately.
Yeah.
The Phillies, there's no reason. The last 2 years have been marvelous rides. They're marvelous. You said 7 sweeps, right?
Yes. Already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think matched their total last season already.
And they had 8 in 2022.
And they're at 7 already.
They may be as good as they've swept in the last 2 years by the time we turn the calendar to June.
Yeah, dude. They're unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, this ride that they're on right now is absolutely incredible, and we want to celebrate it with you at 610-632-0975. Give me one more text, Connor.
Blaine from Kentucky checks in.
Hello,
Says,
Blaine.
I'm
Hi, Blaine.
comfortable. It's amazing to be the top dog. Still, I would be lying if I didn't say there's the memory of the Eagles last year at 10-1 in the back of my mind. I know this is a different team, but I got caught being a little cocky and talking trash last year when the Eagles beat Kansas City and the Bills and were the top dog.
I think what you have to hear is the messaging that comes out of the team itself.
Yes.
Play the Rob Thompson clip for me one more time, Connor. And I'll expand on it after you hear Topper.
They're never complacent. They keep fighting. They prepare. They compete. They have a lot of fun doing it. They love playing the game. So, yeah, it was a good homestand with big crowds every day, every night. So it's been a lot of fun.
Going out the way they did last year in the playoffs, do you think that helps?
No doubt. No doubt. And the new guys that have come in have bought right into it. You know, there's kind of an edge to everybody. They want to finish it.
The Phillies last lost on May 16th, right? They just swept the Rangers and they swept the Nationals. Do you remember what Kyle Schwarber said after they lost against the Mets? Yeah, just because we're on a good run right now doesn't mean we're not angry for losing today. He straight up said, like, we're angry that we lost today. That was, oh, by the way, they had won before that game 3 straight. Right? Like, think about that. That's the mentality of the locker room. They won 3 straight. They lost a game. They were on pace to set historic records for the Phillies at that time. And he said, yeah, we're angry that they lost today. And what happens? They then win 6 in a row. So what you had to Blaine's point, I get what you're saying about the Eagles thing and the collapse last year. Hear the messaging from Rob Thompson. Hear the messaging from the players. Hear the messaging from the media that covers the teams. The message that I gave you during spring training. The Eagles last year, you heard anonymous sources come out after the second loss of the season.
First time under Sirianni that we had any of that, too, by the way.
Jalen Hurts gave mixed messaging. There was a span of multiple weeks where he said, you know, the standard's the standard. And then it turned into, since when did winning not become the main thing? Because it was a continuation of bad efforts by the offense, but they were winning games. His own messaging changed when he said, well, hold on a second, we're still winning games, even though he realized. And then you start hearing the whispers of, I remember Jalen Hurts said it, Sidney Brown said it, you can't keep practicing the same things and expecting different results. The messaging that came from the Eagles was nowhere near as confident as the messaging coming from the Phillies right now.
No, there's a calmness to the Phillies about this whole thing.
Yeah.
There just is they're very confident. They got swag. They really do.
Yep, they really do. All right, after Connor's story, all the names that the Sixers are linked to now. Connor, our first question that we pulled out of the Wawa Welcome to America hat.
We're still on the first one?
We're still on the first one, and we'll move quickly after these. Your worst run-in with somebody sports-related since you became a member of the media?
People know the story a little bit, but I don't think they know the full story. So You've heard the Brian Westbrook thing, where I say I can tackle Brian Westbrook.
Yeah, you're moronic for saying it.
What people don't know, that was my first day literally in the building here. I
didn't know that.
I walked in. I was training to float. Our old buddy Pat was teaching me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know him at the time. And I was just kind of talking, shooting the breeze. I said that, just kind of backhanded, not thinking anything of it. And Pat, being the guy he is, walked right up to Brian, who was in the building that day.
Oh, he was in the building that day?
He was in the building and told him, hey, you got to hear what the new kid said. And made me stand face-to-face with Brian Westbrook and tell him to his face.
I'm hoping he laughed at you.
He did. But the one thing,
here we go.
To my credit, I did stand right in front of him and say it. I was terrified.
I will give you credit.
But I couldn't on the first day, because I knew if I was just like, no, I didn't say that, never going to get respect here again. So I had to live with it, but that wasn't great.
Hopefully TJ McConnell never comes in the building.
I'll shut TJ down.
Your confidence is unbelievable.
Thank you, buddy.
And look, he would try to back it up. If B. West said Oklahoma drill right now, you would do it?
100%.
If TJ McConnell rolled out a ball and said, let's go, you would play.
Bro, I ain't scared of anybody.
You might get wrecked.
I might lose.
You might. Sorry. You will get wrecked.
You will get dominated.
By
both of them.
Only one way to find out. I'm right here, boys.
You have no shot.
You know where to find
any
me.
Of those guys.
6 a.m., 10 a.m., Kincade Salciunas, this studio.
All right. So Jake Fisher yesterday, who does a tremendous job covering the NBA. His rise in the NBA media is incredible, and we're hoping to speak to him. I reached out to him yesterday. He's like, dude, listen, I'm traveling all over the place for the Western and Eastern Conference Finals,
good work ethic on
NBA
Jake.
Finals. So We're going to try to speak to him after the NBA season officially comes to an end, which might be great because that's when a lot of things for the Sixers will be hot and heavy. Because right now, everything's just rumor mill. The season's not over yet, so nothing can be done just yet. But he did a deep dive on what the Sixers could be doing this upcoming offseason. First, this one I am shocked by because I'm shocked that it might still be a possibility. The Sixers, one of their top targets will be OG Anunoby, who I'm shocked that there's a chance the Knicks don't re-sign him. The Knicks traded a boatload of picks and players to Toronto in order to acquire him this year. I can't see you putting that much for a rental.
But he's not a 3. He's not a third option, is he?
No, he is.
On a team, if you're talking about Maxey Embiid, OG Anunoby?
He is an incredible defender.
Yeah,
He can hit an open 3. He doesn't scream. But here's the thing: he's exactly who you want.
No, but the thing is, But the thing is, if you're talking about it, is I need something a little tastier for the third. I would say if he's your fourth option.
Okay, but John, he's literally
great. No, I get it.
You want younger, and you want.
I do.
You want somebody that won't try to take over and beat her.
All right, tell me who's coming with me. If you tell me who's coming with OG Anunoby, I'm all in. I could be all in.
Right.
I could be all in.
Daryl Morey's job to fill in.
And don't tell me it's decrepit old Paul George.
I got you. Well, OG Anunoby would be a max contract player.
Correct.
So, and that's no Paul George.
No Paul George.
And that'd be a total. I think it'd be a total stretch to give him.
I don't see OG as a max contract player.
I don't like his game enough to give him a max.
He's going to get one. I would not do it if I'm. And look, he is a nice player on an NBA team.
He's a nice player.
He does not scream max contract player. It bothers me the fact that he probably will get one. Go get your money, man. Congratulations. If the Sixers signed OG Anunoby, even though he's actually a very good piece to have on a team, I can't give him top dollar.
All right, what's the next one? Because we're all out.
Obviously,
max contract.
Look, yes, the max contract portion of it.
Give me a break.
So here's the jumping off point from Jake Fisher. The Sixers are, quote, willing to spend future money and sacrifice draft capital to achieve winning a championship next season, which I'm not shocked by at all. Philadelphia views the opportunity to have $60+ million in cap space this summer, something just shy of what the Warriors had when they were able to sign Kevin Durant years ago. So they had a tremendous team already, and then also acquired Kevin Durant. So that's kind of what
they had won championships.
Yes, they have.
I mean, nothing like the Sixers.
Yeah, but we're just talking cap space.
I'm not talking about.
Yeah, lots of teams have cap space though.
Previous success.
Not like the Sixers.
Yeah, but lots of teams have had cap space.
Dude, not what the Sixers.
This is the only. The Warriors had incredible time,
and that was
they had a championship pedigree,
right? And you're hoping that they can establish a championship pedigree this offseason. One of the names that was mentioned, you brought up Donovan Mitchell as a guy that you're interested in. Jake Fisher said, quote, if Philadelphia can't sign someone of that magnitude via free agency, the Sixers will likely have several options to pursue in the trade market. Without an extension with the Cavaliers, you can add Philadelphia to any proverbial group of interested suitors in Mitchell's services.
And they fired their coach overnight.
Right. So we'll see about Donovan Mitchell. My biggest concern is how does he and Maxey work together? That is my biggest concern. I think Donovan Mitchell is a hell of a talent. You saw him win a playoff series for the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Orlando Magic. Like,
congrats.
Yeah, that's what I'm like.
You're not a fan, I take it.
No, I like Donovan Mitchell. I just haven't seen all that much postseason-wise from him.
Right. That's my biggest thing. Like, he was on a Jazz team that was supposed to do great things year in and year out, and they never won anything.
See, I never thought the Jazz was talked about with playoff expectations.
Were they a one seed at one point?
They were either one or two. They were
a fraud one, like the Hawks were a fraud one the one year.
In the Western Conference, it's hard to be a fraudulent one, man.
It is harder. They're just I don't know. I don't know about this
Look,
one.
I like Donovan Mitchell.
I like it more than giving OG.
Okay.
Yes, he is a better option than OG.
All right. Believe it or not, Paul George is mentioned. Now, this is what scares me. And, look, this is a tumultuous offseason because you do have so much you have to do.
Okay.
But you also have the freedom to do so much. So it's like I'm excited, but I think this is pivotal. Like, if you don't hit this offseason, you're done.
All right.
I'm sorry to go that far.
No, you're done.
But you're done if you don't hit on your biggest acquisition this offseason. Paul George, quote, and this is what scares me. Paul George has been on Daryl Morey's radar since his time with the Rockets.
What does this
said.
sound like?
When Houston personnel were more than aware of George's affinity for ending up in Los Angeles, where his parents now regularly sit courtside for his games. So Daryl Morey has had his eye on Paul George since his time with the Rockets, which was, 5-6 years ago? I've seen this with the Daniel House Jr., P.J. Tucker, James Harden. He obsesses over players from 5-6 years ago.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
I don't know what more you can say.
Look, if he's interested in Paul George from a basketball standpoint, okay. But when I read that portion of the story, he's had his eyes on him for 5-6 years now.
And Ballmer doesn't want to give him a max contract. The owner is not in on giving him a max contract. And reportedly from NBA Today and others, Daryl Morey sort of made it known that he's willing to give him a max contract. It's so on brand.
Well,
it is so on brand.
I'll say one thing if you're going to bring up Ballmer. The Clippers don't make the best decisions with what they do. So I wouldn't really look at that and say Ballmer's not willing to do it.
He says as an owner, I think he's going in. They're going into their new building. Yeah. He wants to freshen things up.
They have Kawhi. They extended him during the season.
Yes.
Connor, when you hear that, not just we think Paul George is a great fit, but he's had his eyes on him for years now.
He's probably going to be a Sixer. Like I'm living with the expectation that Paul George is going to be a Sixer.
Unbelievable.
All right.
It's just unbelievable.
Cross your fingers he's healthy.
All right, so we continue because it's not just all the big name players.
Okay.
Well, he did say in the story, quote, concerns around Joel Embiid's availability to both play and play at full strength in the playoffs will be a factor in players considering signing with the Sixers. That's no duh, but I'm glad that it's being said.
Okay.
Here's another one about other players. Now, this is a bit longer, so sit back. The Sixers, sources said, took note of Indiana's 2-year splurge for Bruce Brown that then became the biggest salary headed back to Toronto in exchange for Siakam. Veteran wings like Klay Thompson and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope would fall on the Sixers' list of targets for similar 1+1 contracts, sources said. Striking out on a big-time wing would also leave the door open for Philadelphia to consider taking back a player such as Zach LaVine in the event Chicago or another team is willing to attach draft capital to move off salary. Now, what that right there tells me, remember when Daryl Morey, and I ripped him for it, you ripped him for it, because I just want to go into a season with the team. Like, I want Game 1 to be a very similar roster to Game 82.
Right.
He said, I like to build as the season goes on. So there is a chance, and this is already being reported, that the Sixers sign a player like Klay Thompson or Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, give him more money than other teams would be willing to offer so that he can eventually dump the contract on a team like the Chicago Bulls if Zach LaVine becomes available.
First of all, Klay Thompson, are you freaking kidding me?
It would be to then eventually. It's not.
I understand.
The mindset would be to eventually trade him.
How about not acquiring him? Then you don't have to trade him.
Well,
I understand.
The point was
for Zach LaVine, what you doing there? Chicago's doesn't like his contract and doesn't like his availability. Yeah. What are you doing?
Look,
what is the vision here?
I'm pro Zach LaVine. I always have been. I understand.
I kind of am too.
Dude, I understand the injury stuff. Like Zach LaVine to me.
Do you though? I'm going to ask you.
No,
do you?
I've been wanting Zach LaVine since before he went to the Chicago Bulls. All right. There was a time when he was with Chicago. He was on the final year of his deal. Finished his deal. He was a restricted free agent. I wanted the Sixers to overspend for Zach LaVine to get him on the roster. They didn't do it. I was very disappointed by it. He fits very well with this team. Defense is obviously an issue. Health is obviously an issue, but he is younger than Paul George, to your point.
He's healthier than Paul George.
He is healthier than Paul George, even though last year he was banged up a lot. I am pro Zach LaVine. I just hate the idea that it would have to be signing a player first to eventually trade for him. I want my roster set Game 1. And I don't think I'm asking too much for that.
These options are terrible.
Well,
these are terrible.
It's the options that you have. There's a lot of names that the Sixers will be linked to. This offseason is not going away anytime soon. It's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be a stressful one. And we'll talk about it a lot throughout the summer here on Kincade and Salciunas. All right, coming up next, the Phillies montage as they complete the sweep against the Rangers. Hear the sounds from yesterday's victory against the Texas Rangers, where the bottom of the order just completely stepped up. We have our second question out of the hat coming your way that we'll discuss. A whole lot more Phillies love, more Sixers talk as well. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. minutes. At 7:35, we'll play our montage that Brendan Gunn put together, our associate producer, from yesterday's Phillies win. Third straight day we do the montage. Third straight win. Well, sixth straight win, but third straight day we're doing it because they sweep the Texas Rangers yesterday, the defending World Series champions. The Phillies just continue to roll, which is why we asked the questions today. Are you comfortable when your teams are this good? I say you should be, but I know not everybody is. And then would you rather be the top dog or the underdog? Because, again, it kind of stems off of the first question. I know how people get in the city where they'd rather be the underdog, and I think that's crazy.
I can't. It's a conversation that I can't deal with.
I want to be the favorite every time.
Get the underdog masks out again.
I don't want to do that.
Enough of that crap.
I don't want to do that. But I know that that's how people feel, and we can talk about it, and we can try to bring you to the fun side, bring you to the party side, right? It's Memorial Day weekend. There's going to be a lot of parties happening this weekend. So come to the party instead of sitting in your house all nervous that the Phillies are going to lose a baseball game, for crying out loud. We'd love to hear from you on the phone line, the text line, 610-632-0975. Still to come, Buster Olney will be joining us at 8:10 today to talk about the best team in baseball, your Philadelphia Phillies. All right, Connor, before we get to the montage, give us another question out of the hat. We're pulling random questions out of a hat today. Could be sports related, could be non-sports related. What do we got?
All right, let's open this one up. And this question is folded up a billion times. If you grew up a huge fan of your local sports team and you moved to another city to help better your life, would you change your allegiances and root for that new area's team, or would you stay loyal and root for the team you always have since birth?
I'm guessing this is John's question?
No.
This is not.
Well,
and it's an easy.
No, you don't change your allegiance.
No, you don't. You never do.
Why would you?
Now,
I can't even imagine that somebody would do that.
Well,
you're awful.
this is interesting.
You're awful.
No, you're an awful. You never were a fan.
Well, I was talking to a guy yesterday at the Phillies game who was born and raised in Chicago, was in the Air Force, ended up over here, and he's been a fan of Philly sports since he came here. He still roots for Chicago teams as well. So how do you guys feel about, split allegiance?
I don't have any problem as long as you're number one. Like, if you say the Eagles are out and you have a reason that you'd want to, support another team, now you don't wear their gear.
No. I would never
You can root for them.
But I would say, all right, my neighbors, love thy neighbor, right? So if I move to Carolina and the Panthers are good, which that's never going to happen, but the Carolina Panthers are in the Super Bowl and my neighbors are Panthers fans, I go, all right, for your sake, I would root for them.
When I told you, when we left Atlanta, I got gifted by every organization a jersey with my name on it.
Right.
They've never been. They won't be displayed. They will not be worn. They'll never be worn.
Right, and the big thing, look, the Braves are literally rivals, so you would never, never do that.
And I was on the flagship station for the Braves.
Right.
I refused to. And every year they would give us something, and I wouldn't wear it. And we would do our charity radiothon for cancer every year. I would donate it and
everything
auction
that
it
you
off.
got. That's
I would
awesome.
auction it off, and the Braves had no problem with that.
So no, to answer that question, absolutely not.
Okay, I'm a little more forgiving with it.
You are?
Yeah.
All right, how about this one? If I had been there one more year, I would have been there when the Braves won the World Series.
Yeah.
My partner and everybody who was still there, who I worked with, they all got World Series rings. I would have gotten a World Series ring.
Yeah, I mean,
what would you have done with it?
Throw it in the trash? I don't know.
I would have auctioned it.
Sell it, yeah.
I would have auctioned it. I would have auctioned it for
Sure.
charity for someone to get an official Braves World Series ring, and just auctioned it off.
Yeah, no.
I would never have done it.
No, but they're a division rival. I think we're going to extremes, and we're also the extreme case. We care about sports enough to work in it. Philly is nuts. You think about someone moving from, I don't know, Minnesota to Nashville.
Okay.
I don't think that's too hard of a flip, especially if you haven't been there forever.
Well, you're not loyal to your city.
Rooting for your teams, you don't just change.
You're a terrible person if you do that.
But I guarantee it's different Midwest, West Coast.
Okay, why? Because their teams aren't that good, and they
don't care as much. It's a different culture when it comes to sports.
And I think it's fraudulent.
Well, it's fraudulent.
I would not respect that.
They're
person.
bad people.
Well, I think we have converts in this fan base, and I'm happy that they're on board.
I'm not.
I like that.
I've been honest. I'm not.
Okay. Well,
I had a guy, a Mets fan, that wanted to become a Phillies fan a few years ago. I was like, no.
Well, no, that's not it. Division rival. Take the division rivals out.
If someone's willing to disavow their fandom and join the fandom and actually support it and embrace it, then welcome to the party.
Absolutely not.
If you
Really?
were a Royals
Absolutely
fan
not.
and you moved to Philly and you're like, forget
And
the
you've
Royals.
been here
I
for
want to be
while.
a Phillies fan.
You're not here for 10 minutes.
Well, there's a lot of people that do it now that they're good.
I'm good with that.
There's the Mets fan. I still remember, and I forget his name, and my bad, brother. But he was like, yeah, man, my entire family was Mets fans, so I grew up in a Mets household, but I just love the Phillies, like the whole vibe about them. Like, I want to be. Yeah, you love the Phillies vibe because they're in the World Series.
We have a
Where
lot
were you during the 10-year playoff drought? You didn't care about the vibe.
We got a lot of people every single October when I roll into Red October that don't pay attention for 3 or 4 months.
But at least they're Phillies fans.
Well, yeah, are they?
Dude,
Yes.
Are
if-
they?
As
They
long
don't
as you're
pay
not
attention.
a division rival fan coming over,
No,
I'll take anybody.
I don't care if you're a Tampa Bay Rays fan and you want to be a
Wow.
Phillies fan because, wow, that stadium actually fills up. No. You can't just all of a sudden jump on board because the Phillies are good.
Yes, you can.
No, you
Stop gatekeeping the
I
team.
will. No, I will.
As long as you don't jump on and then jump off and then jump on.
And that's what. Look, if you already
I
jumped
think
off
there's a lot of it here.
your team and now are jumping on mine, how am I supposed to believe that you won't jump off at some point?
I mean, it's
I don't
absolutely
trust anybody
ridiculous.
that wants to change allegiances of the teams that they love.
Brendan Gunn.
Never trust them.
That's why I didn't change rooting for Nova. No, you went to a college that has sports teams. You never, ever root for another university.
I agree.
We're just going to
No.
disagree on this one.
It's absurd.
I think you can't jump. You can't change your allegiance. I will never trust you because then you'll change again.
I think you
Correct. You're a snake.
All right.
You're a snaky type person.
Here is how it sounded last night, or yesterday afternoon, excuse me. A packed house at Citizens Bank Park for a Thursday afternoon game when the Phillies swept the Texas Rangers.
All right, so here we go with this final game of the series. Phillies looking for the series sweep. You know, we talked about how good this team has been. They've got their ace out on the mound today. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do against this Rangers team. Swing and a miss. He got him with the splitter. First strikeout of the day for Zach. 1, 2, 3 go the Rangers. It was worth the wait. 10 pitches. We're on to the bottom of the first.
Oh, yeah.
And a strike 3 called on the inside corner. That's 3 strikeouts for Wheeler. The Bellos can't believe it, but that was a really good pitch. And he's talked about that command, just trying to get it better. I mean, think about it. Last year, he gave up 19 walks in 32 games. This year, he has 19 walks in 11 starts. Swing and a miss, but he's also striking guys out. Second strikeout for Wheeler. 73 on the year, 1 away. Opposite way, out toward the pole. This one is gone! JT's hitting streak is up to 13, and the Phillies have tied this game up at 1. And a strike 3 call right down the middle, 94 miles an hour for the 5th strikeout of the day for Zach Wheeler. That one's lined out to left center field. That's going to be in for an extra base hit, and it's 1 hop off the State Farm side. Single and a double now for Sosa.
Well, does he like to light up the lefties, huh?
And a high fly ball out to left. Carter started in. Now he's going back to the wall. He jumps. He didn't get it. And this one is getting away from everybody. Sosa scores. Merrifield speeding home. And the Phillies take the lead. It's a 2-run triple. It's 3-1 Phils. And a line drive base hit back through the middle for Schwarber. That brings home Pache. Second in for Schwarber. 4-1 Phils. Popped up. Harper comes in. He calls for it. He's under it. And he makes the catch, and the inning is over. Wheels leaves him loaded. It's time to stretch. Fly ball left field. Pretty well hit. Carter going back toward the wall. Has it got enough? It does! It's gone! Solo home run. He got that run. It's a 5-2 game. Out to the top of the 8th inning. It's 5-2. You can hear the music in the background. That means Jose Alvarado's coming in. Swing and a miss. That'll wrap up this 8th inning. 6 strikeouts for Phillies pitching. Turns out to be another scoreless frame for Jose Alvarado. We go to the top of the 9th inning, and Jeff Hoffman will start the Phils to try to finish this off. The other thing, too, is if the Phillies can pull out a victory here today, it would be their 22nd win at Citizens Bank Park. You know, we're celebrating 20 years of baseball here at Citizens Bank Park. It would be the most wins in the first 30 games at this ballpark, and the most in the first 30 games at home since 1993. Swing and miss, he got it. 2 outs. Popped up, out near second. Sosa Sosa says he has it. He's under, makes the catch, and the ball game is over. It's the 7th sweep of the season for the Philadelphia Phillies. They're 29-6 in their last 35 games. It equals the best stretch in a 35-game stretch in franchise history as they win it today, 5-2.
Yeah, just an amazing run. Contribution again from all over the ballpark. Boy, oh boy, this is quite the run.
Great job, Brendan Gunn, our associate producer, for putting that together. Another great win for the Phillies yesterday. And you just heard them say it at the end there, Ruben, you got it from all over the place. And again, I'll remind you, 7, 8, 9, Edmundo Sosa, Whit Merrifield, Christian Pache. Yesterday, they combined 6 for 12. They score 3 runs. Pache drives in 2 RBIs, man. Just an incredible effort. And it doesn't matter. I put out a tweet yesterday. It doesn't matter where you're at in the order, what inning, any game, no matter where in the order, they could put up a crooked number. That's how good this baseball team is right now.
They're playing at just an incredible clip, and it's so much fun to watch.
Yep, been an absolute blast, and they start a series tonight in Colorado against the Rockies. We'll preview that at some point. So here's what we got coming up. Buster Olney to talk about the red-hot fight in Phils will be joining us coming up at 8:10. But coming up next, we'll get another question out of the hat.
The grab bag.
And I want to dive a little deeper into this fan thing because I know somebody wants to react to it. Hell yeah, I'm a gatekeeper. Oh, you want to jump on board now that things are good? And I'm not talking about the local Philadelphia fan that's a casual and now wants to be a Phillies fan.
I think they're worse.
They're
worse.
No, what's worse is the guy that's a fan of the Mets and goes, wow, my organization's a joke. I'm going to be a Phillies fan now.
You guys are both selfish.
I hate that, man. I hate that. We'll continue the conversation. We'd love to hear from you on the phone line and the text line, 610-632-0975. Send in some texts about that. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Bob Cooney.
Joining us on the Comcast.
Fanatic. We have a boatload of stuff going on today. We're heading into a holiday weekend. I hope you all enjoy your weekend. I hope a lot of you go down the shore or wherever you end up going, even if it's just a staycation and you got the extra day. I hope you relax. I hope you unwind. I hope you have a lot of fun. Yeah, good. I'm glad.
You do too.
I'm glad that you will have fun. I'm glad that you're slacking and won't work on Monday. You know, unlike the rest of us here.
Keep the ship on sailing. I'll see you Tuesday.
Our main topics today are stemming off of the Phillies' success. Do you feel comfortable when your teams are as good as the Phillies are? Or are you one of those fans that waits for the other shoe to drop? Another question that we have is, are you one of those fans who prefers being the underdog or the top dog? And John and I and Connor, we're all fans of being the top dog, not the underdog. But we're pulling random questions out of a hat. And that's going to lead to random discussion as the show goes on. And our most recent question was, if you were to move away from the city you were born and raised in, would you change allegiances of being a fan? And I say I would not, and I think it's horrible when people do it.
I think you're fair with that. I'm far more appalled by the people who are already inside. People calling you a gatekeeper.
Right.
I consider the people that are already inside the gate that jump on board. I'll give my brother Doc a big shout out because he said it for years, that the fan that you see right before the Sixers go to the playoffs or right before the Phillies playoff run, they run on out to Rally House and they grab their hat. You know they haven't. They couldn't hold a deep Phillies conversation with you for 2 minutes.
Why does that bother you?
That doesn't bother me. No, that one doesn't bother me.
That's much worse to me than somebody who just the faux fan.
Yeah, but
far
dude,
worse.
Like,
to
not
me.
like my wife is not a fan of sports. She's not. It's a very strange relationship when I'm a diehard sports fan and she doesn't give a you-know-what about sports.
Right.
She's happy when I'm happy. She's happy when the area's happy. She went to Bryce Harper's Game 5 home run against the Padres and went to Game 4, the closeout last year against the Atlanta Braves, and she was screaming just as loud as everybody else. And I loved it. Even though she didn't watch a game all season long.
But it didn't hold, though.
No.
Who cares?
It didn't carry over.
No. There's no hierarchy of fandom. If you root for the same team as me, we are equals.
But you're not rooting for the team.
It's
the jump on the bandwagon.
I don't care if it's one game or a billion games. If I sit down next to you at a ball game, at a bar, somewhere around the city, and we're watching the game, and you're rooting for the team I'm rooting for to win, we are equals. I don't care how you got there. I don't care when you leave.
See, I care about how you got there. Because if you change allegiances, then I don't trust you.
See,
if
you're rooting for a different
team, then we're not. So Christy, it's not like Christy started rooting for the Mets.
No, I got you.
Right?
It's just,
the Phillies were out.
No, I just find it more like it's. I know that it's something that we would get into is that fans in the stadium where people would go. The further Red October goes, the less the crowd impact is.
Well,
the World Series crowds.
People are getting priced out.
The World Series crowds were because you had people who are not diehards who show because they can afford to spend it and go, and they sit on their hands. They don't do the same. You go to the early rounds or that Braves series, and your ears are splitting.
Trust me, but my wife was a part of it who didn't watch a game all season long, John.
I appreciate her doing that.
All right, let's go to Steve in Florida who wants to jump in on this. What's up, Steve?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'll start out. I'm 74 years old, so I've been a sports fan for a long time. I grew up in Albany, New York, and when I was a kid, we didn't have access to sports like we do today. So my only access to sports was network television, and all they showed were New York teams. So I grew up as a Yankee fan and a Giants fan. But then when I went to dental school at 10, I met my wife in Philadelphia and settled in Philadelphia. My kids were born in Philadelphia, and I am as diehard a Philadelphia 4-for-4 fan as you will find from anybody who was born and raised there.
But you weren't a fan. You weren't a fan of those New York teams, though, right?
You have experienced the fandom that I've created because my son Noah was one of your jurors.
Oh, he loved Noah.
About that.
He loved them. Now wait a minute, though. But Steve, you never were attached to those New York teams, though, right?
Well, I was a little bit. But I was attached to the 76ers when I was in high school because I went to basketball camp and was taught basketball by Hal Greer, Larry Costello, Dolph Shays, Luke Jackson.
All right, Steve, I have a question for you, and it's an important one. Was 2009 a difficult World Series for you to root?
Actually, I went to one of the games. I came up, and Noah was at Penn at the time, and I came up and went to one of the games against the Yankees, and there was no question I was rooting for the Phillies.
Okay. Now that was an important question I needed answered.
And Noah's
thanks
a
for
good
the call.
And Noah's a good dude, so you are a good dad.
All right,
This kid was a juror, and you guys are trying to keep him from being a Philadelphia sports
Noah's
fan.
a good dude.
No, I'm not talking about Noah.
That's the exact story from Steve that we're talking about can't happen. You guys are saying.
He came as a child. There's a little difference.
Noah's
than the
allowed to be a
adult.
Phillies fan. Steve, I
He
question.
didn't come as a child. He came here for dental school. He was probably 18 plus.
No, he might have been Doogie Howser for all you freaking know.
But I don't know who that is.
He may have been like 9.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Going to dental
doctor.
school. Going to dental
Bottom
school.
line is that's the guy you're trying to keep out of the fan base, and he's diehard. I'm not gatekeeping this from anybody. You don't know what type of a fan you turn into when you
At
convert.
least he's been around. It's the people that are now all of a sudden jumping ship that I find very questionable.
Well, you can not like them when they jump off, but before they do, they're on the same side as us.
Like, I'm already preparing myself because I know the Flyer faithful that will this team goes to the playoffs. Mishkov comes over.
That's happening.
When Mishkov comes over, and if it is in June, if we find out in June that he's going to be a Flyer, wait till you see all the orange and black coming out of the woodwork that it's like, oh, they're my team. I've been with them all the way.
Yeah, well, at least they didn't jump ship to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
You know what I hate, honestly, is when more people like the stuff that I like. And I can share experiences with more people who enjoy the same things.
See, now here, this is where you're.
This sounds sarcastic.
This is where you would.
It is sarcastic.
You would not make it in war or like CIA.
Yes.
You trust everybody.
I don't trust everybody.
There are double agents. There are backstabbers,
No, dude.
and the people that jump on ship when things are good, when they used to be the fan of the Cubs or any teams in Chicago, and everything sucks in Chicago, so you come to Philadelphia, and now all of a sudden you're a Philadelphia sports fan, and the second Chicago starts playing well again, you jump back over to Chicago.
Somebody would get the nuclear codes from Connor.
Like and respect are not the same thing as full trust. Okay?
Dude, I don't know.
I don't know, Connor.
And if that person jumps back to Chicago, what are you going to do? Well, at least we were friends for a few years.
Well, I'm going to say screw that guy. But until they do, if you're rooting for the same team as me, we're on the same side.
If they jump ship to Philadelphia, they're going to jump ship again.
And
they're
when they
going
do,
to
they're
screw
done.
you over.
But I don't wait for that. I see the good in people for where they're at, not where they could be.
Who do I trust? Me. All right, that's
You
who.
guys are the worst.
All right, coming up next, Buster Olney will be joining us at 8:10 to talk about the best team in baseball. We'll do a quick show reset. And at 8:05, today's headlines with Connor Thomas. All coming your way next. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Friday, a holiday weekend Fanatic Friday, presented by Pumpman Philly for 24/7 emergency repair, pump replacement. Count on Pumpman Philly, the guys know to fix your flow. Do whatever you can to do like 1% of effort at work today. Right? Is that fair? 1% of effort, and then check out for the rest of the weekend. Unless you're not even going to work at all today.
Unless you're an air traffic controller.
Yeah, then pay attention.
A member of law enforcement, an EMT.
Doctor, nurse. Yeah, maybe pay attention a little bit more.
Yes,
if you're working in those fields.
2 hands on the wheel. Let's do it.
Yeah, please do that.
2 hands are not needed on the wheel.
Well, no, Andrew proved it this morning. 2 hands are necessary on the wheel.
I spilled coffee all over myself. Had to turn around and go back home to get changed. It was that bad.
Second time this week.
Yeah, but the first time was like a little dribble drab. This was like I poured the whole cup on me.
How about a cup with a lid that closes?
That would be a smart thing to do.
How about it? I have a different one every single day.
That would probably be a smart thing to do.
On the Ocean City Boardwalk last year.
That's a good cup.
It's a nice holiday weekends and summer weekends cup.
Yeah, well, nobody said I'm smart, so there's that.
These are the guys gatekeeping your fandom.
Well, dude, no, seriously.
ways.
If you're changing from one fandom to another because things are going well in Philadelphia, I can never trust you.
No.
How can I trust you? You'll do it again.
You don't have to, dude. You don't have to trust anybody. Okay, it's not like life and death.
I don't want you to feel the joy that I feel. How about that?
I don't want
that's
you. Yes.
And that's
by
me
the way,
right there.
Our man John Kruk, and we appreciate happy belated birthday. He says, I'm with John, the Red Octoberites who start sniffing around in late September when they haven't paid attention all year with their brand new Phillies outfit is incredibly irking.
Yeah, but at least Phillies fan. It's not.
Well, are they?
It's not the team. It's not a Detroit Tigers fan that all of a sudden wants to be a Philadelphia fan because it got too hard for them in Detroit.
To be a Phillies fan, you don't just pick up you don't just have your card punched. You invest. You invest. To be an Eagles fan, you invest.
Yeah.
You don't just, it doesn't just mean, well, if I show up wearing a Phillies hat, I'm a Phillies fan. BS.
Well, there's going to be a lot of people doing that this year, so are you already telling them to stay away?
No, I'm saying if they invest, like my wife is investing. She's like, the Phillies play? What time the Phillies play tonight?
She jumped on the bandwagon this year.
She's but she never had an allegiance.
Okay, that's what we're saying, though. That's the Red October, people.
And I think it'll change, by the way.
No, I don't.
I do.
I'm telling you right now, it will not.
I never in a million years. Christina's brothers are fascinated that she's now a sports fan.
Okay.
Like just for her Flyers and her Phillies.
All right.
She's not going to be moved by much else.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think it'll come when she starts wearing Cooper's button as a mom in the booster club.
Oh, well, those
things
days.
like that. Yeah, but then that'll get her
change.
more. Yeah, but that'll get her more interested in sports.
Do we have any texts on this, Connor, before we get to today's headlines with you, Connor Thomas?
With me?
Yeah,
yes, we do have a couple texts on this.
All right, what do we got?
So Rob checks in. He says, born, raised in Philly, O'Hara and her sinus grad, moved to Wilmington, North Carolina 20 years ago. As 4-for-4 allegiance, no chance of ever changing. He'll catch Canes games if the Flyers are irrelevant, but never root for them.
No,
so
of course.
He could never change.
Look, if I move to a different city, I might go to I still love baseball, right? So let's say I move to I'll use Chicago again, and I'm near the White Sox stadium. I might go check out a White Sox game.
That's different.
But I'm not putting on a White Sox cap and saying go Sox.
No,
that's a different Sox, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's a totally different accent.
Boston.
But like I'm not doing that.
Right, I get you.
All right, do we have any others?
Yeah, Brian from Somerton says, my roommate in the Air Force was from Long Island, New York. He was a Mets, Giants, and Islanders fan. We had a good rivalry until he met a girl from Philly. At my wedding, he moved to Philly 34 years ago and is now a big Eagles, Phillies, and Flyers fan. I like him much better now.
Yeah, of course, because he's now rooting for the team that he was probably ripping. Here's my other beef.
Exactly.
If you were a New York fan, Mets, he said?
Yeah.
That means he hated the Phillies at one point.
Yes.
Right. And I appreciate your service. Thank you for being a part of the United States Air Force. Thank you. But if you at one point ripped the Phillies, hated the Phillies, and now all of a sudden you're a Phillies fan?
Right.
That's awful.
That's gross to me.
No, it's
honestly,
gross.
the most important thing about Phillies fans is the Phillies fans never rip the Phillies.
Because I'm going to trust you.
You're allowed to rip your own. You
can't call your own ugly.
Dude, that's as if I jump ship to the Mets are I've told you, the Mets are my least favorite team in all sports, more so than the Cowboys. And then all of a sudden I moved to New York and I love the bright lights of New York City. And then I start becoming a Mets fan after all the vile things that I've said about them, deservedly so.
Friends.
No.
Nah.
Don't.
Nah. I pick my friends.
No, they can be your friends. They just can't be, they're not going to be welcomed into my inner circle of sports. Absolutely not.
All right, it's time now for today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
Today's headlines with Connor Thomas.
What up, Connor?
No, not today. What's up, boys? We've got some interesting stuff. So, speaking of fandom and being a Philadelphia sports fan, Nakobe Dean spoke recently. And I think he gave a really good explanation of what it's like to play in Philadelphia and what this fan base is like. Go ahead and take a listen.
A Philly fan told me, he said, man, you play for the he knew how I was, play for the Eagles. He was like, man, we love y'all, man. We'll take a bullet for y'all, but we'll put y'all in front of one, too. Exactly what he told me.
That's right, though.
He explained it to a T. And to be honest, it's like, yeah, that's kind of how it is. Yeah, I'm be honest, I just embrace it.
And here's the cool thing about Nakobe Dean. He embraces it. There are some guys that can't. Right? Steven Nelson literally said it. I could not handle playing in Philadelphia. And I actually appreciated his honesty in saying it instead of just bad-mouthing Philadelphia.
Nakobe grew up in the South. He grew up in, I think, Mississippi. Either Mississippi or Louisiana. I know that before coming to Georgia. He's not used to this pro sports getting it. And then playing even in Georgia. He sees it at Georgia, the great, but then he sees how pro sports are handled in the South. It's not the same. It's not even close.
Absolutely.
It's a great way of phrasing
He's
it.
awesome.
It is. Great work by that fan. And also, because we got Buster coming up, we're just going to do one more here. We're going to do another question out of the hat.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
And with the way this is going, we'll have to move Buster to 8:30.
No, get the hell out of here.
All right. If you had 2 months to train for a professional sport, but one that would be on ESPN, The Ocho, which sport could you go pro in?
This is my question. I have an answer.
Of course you do.
Okay, I've seen it on ESPN.
Which one?
I'll do mini golf.
Okay.
I've seen the mini golf tournaments.
I still think you'd get wrecked by.
I think but I think I wouldn't be atrocious.
Okay.
I don't think I'd be embarrassed.
And I'm giving you 2 months to train.
I don't think I'd be embarrassed
every
at
day
all on national TV if I had to show that.
We can scroll back if you're out there listening on the Fanatic Instagram page. There's a reel of everyone trying to hit a putt here in the office, so you can watch.
But 2
John's
months of
putter
training,
swing.
and he would know
know
the course that he's playing at.
And again, I'll give Connor a challenge later and see if he takes it.
All right, Connor, what would your answer be?
I'm not saying no. I'm just saying people can see the swing and evaluate if they think you can.
All right, what's your answer, Connor?
Cornhole.
Probably.
I'm a monster.
Now, but here's the deal. You say you're a monster.
I'm a monster.
I guarantee you're nowhere close to as good as the professionals.
I know I'm not, but I don't play like that.
So
I played in the league
He'd
before.
have 2 months, though. I know our own Brendan Petrilli's trying to do this right
He's
now.
practicing. So I'll tell you a story. There was an Alex's Lemonade Stand charity cornhole tournament behind the building here. And my buddy Alex works at Tubal.
Okay.
And so this is when I was still doing middays, and it was at like 4 o'clock. I lived in Manayunk, so I drove back, picked them up. It was like $10 buy-in per player, and it was all you can drink, which is really fun.
That's a great thing.
And all proceeds went to Alex's Lemonade Stand. We made it to like the Elite Eight, and the guy that played was a former professional cornhole player. Right. Showed me videos of him on ESPN.
Okay.
He got angry at himself if he didn't make it into the hole. Even if he made it on the board.
He was pissed.
He was pissed. That's how.
Did he win?
Oh, yeah. They
wiped everybody out.
I think we lost 21-0, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, because if they make 5 and you make 4, they get 1 point.
Oh, exactly. Right.
So, they always scored more than us.
And so they kept doing that.
So, dude,
I played in the league with some guys who have made money doing it, and they smoked me and the guys that I was playing
with. 2 months of training.
But it's not that big of a difference.
All right, I'll tell you mine.
Go for it.
It's a newer sport. Keeping the balloon up in the air.
Oh, balloon volleyball?
Dude. I'm quick-footed.
You are quick-footed.
I'd cook you in balloon volleyball.
No, dude, I think I'd beat you. If I had 2 months to train, work on my agility, get good shoes and everything, call Buster up.
Yeah, that's good.
The balloon, I could keep the balloon up.
I did not know that they show that on ESPN.
They do.
They do?
Well, ESPN 8. Remember how they do it on like August 8th? It's been on the TV.
I know somebody who I used to work with who was on a professional chase tag league.
Oh, I know that one too, yeah.
And he's on tag videos where they set up obstacle courses and you just keep away.
See, I would not be able to do well at that.
He's like Spider-Man.
The parkour, I can't do the parkour.
No, he's like Spider-Man.
Because it's part of the parkour notion of it.
And it's unbelievable.
But the balloon thing, I'll jump over a couch to keep a balloon up.
He'll pull himself up with one arm
I'm not
on the
doing
obstacle course to
Zero
avoid,
upper body strength.
being tagged. And,
fake muscles.
And they chase each other around and they dive off stuff and everything, and it's padded. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. Trust me. All right, we're awaiting Buster Olney. Buster Olney from ESPN is going to be joining us to talk about the Philadelphia Phillies, who are 37-14. They set a franchise record 2 days ago when they won their 36th game of the season, the most wins through 50 games of the season. And I wanted to have Buster on this week because I remember what he said before the season started. I was lucky enough to have Buster on right before opening day. And the reason why I had him on before opening day was because of a tweet that he put out about his World Series prediction that had the Philadelphia Phillies beating the New York Yankees.
I think you said he was the smartest man in baseball when he
yes,
made that
that is accurate.
And that wasn't at least bit skewed by
and
the
he
prediction.
joins us now live from Montana on the Comcast Business Hotline. Every day in business is a big day. Let Comcast Business help you move forward with what's next. The great Buster Olney. Buster, good morning. How you doing today?
I'm cold. We had 4 inches of snow here yesterday.
You did not. Really?
You know?
Oh, that is awesome.
Totally.
Dude, I am in a Hawaiian shirt, and I am in shorts,
Yes,
and
it's a
I am
holiday
in
weekend.
flip-flops right now.
That's unbelievable.
I know. I'm going to forward, I'll forward to Connor the video of yesterday, which I sent to my siblings back in Vermont. Like, it is dumping here.
Jeez.
That is unreal.
Oh, well, enjoy your holiday weekend with the snow. Buster, before the season started, your prediction was the Phillies to win the World Series over the New York Yankees. But I'm going to take a guess right now. You did not predict them to be 37-14 through 51 games. How impressive a start has this been for the Phils?
Yeah, remarkable. I look, and I think you start out with acknowledging the fact that they have played this really soft schedule. You know, as you guys, I'm sure, have talked about, you know, only the games against the Braves early in the season were the only games against teams over 500. My own feeling is that doesn't matter.
Yep.
You know, you beat, you have to beat who you play, and that's what they've been doing. And they've beaten the heck out of everybody. And their rotation clearly is deeper than I think what a lot of people thought. You know, their bullpen has come together well. Their lineup depth, you know, emergence of Bohm and the continued progress of Stott is a remarkable team. And I mentioned this to you before the season started. I really also thought that this was a group that would live to be motivated. They would have a drive from what happened last October, and I lived that as a reporter when I was covering the Yankees in 1998, following the '97 playoff disappointment. The following year, the team was just driven every day, and that was the team that wound up winning 114 games in the regular season and winning the World Series. I think that's a real thing. I think it helps teams get through. That sort of motivation helps teams get through the long regular season. And so the Phillies are absolutely flying.
Buster, we would have you on many times back in Atlanta talking about how the regular seasons almost became nonchalant. The Braves would roll along and would dominate. And then when October came around, they weren't able to flip the switch and get that same energy back. Why do you think this Phillies team will be different? They've had to bust their way in the last 2 years to the last minute. This year looks like it'll be a little more casual.
Yes, well, for a couple of things. First off, as the old saying goes, today's momentum is the starting pitcher, right? And the fact is that while it's going to be a slog inevitably over the course of the long regular season, like we all have days on our jobs where we're more motivated than other days. The starting pitchers drive that. And when you have someone like Zach Wheeler and you have someone like Nola and Ranger Suarez and the back end of their rotation, I think that's going to continue to push them. That's what it did with the 98 Yankee team. Every day they would be driven. The other thing, too, that I think is a real factor for this team, and I thought it was a factor for that Yankee team, was the home field crowd. It's the best home field advantage in baseball. The relationship between the players and the crowd seems absolutely tangible to the point that I think on those days when players are flat, and again, I don't mean that as a criticism. That is human nature. We all go through it. On those days when they're flat, I think the crowd helps to lift them and to keep them accountable and to push them through those moments. And look, I think there's inevitably going to be a slide. There might be a team meeting. The players might say, hey, we need to pick it up. But this is a team that's going to roll into October with a lot of momentum and a lot of memory about what happened last October.
We're speaking to Buster Olney on the Comcast Business Hotline. Buster, when people think about the Phillies, their first thoughts is typically probably Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos. Yeah. You yourself mentioned how the strength is also from Bryson Stott and guys like Alec Boehm, who are on a tear this year. What are your opinions on Bryson Stott, Alec Boehm, and how are they perceived league-wide from other GMs, other people that cover Major League Baseball? Because the first thought is Bryce Harper, but you have guys like Bryson Stott and Alec Boehm who contribute almost every single day for this team.
Yeah, I think Boehm in particular was seen as someone who had a lot of talent, and clearly someone who had a lot of ability to hit, but he would go through these dips and slide. And this year it just seems changing. Look, one of the cool things about your job, about my job, is we, get to meet these players when they're 19 or 20 years old, and you see them grow as people over time. Bryce is a great example of that, from the time that he started with the Nationals and, the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 15 to where he is now. He is a different person. That's what happens. And with Alec Boehm, I felt the same thing. So the last time we were on Sunday Night Baseball, we had Brandon Marsh wearing the microphone. As you guys know, he's roommates with Alec Boehm. And I went up to Boehm before the game and said, look, we want to ambush Brandon with a question from you on air. And I taped something with him about 2 hours before the game with my iPhone where he gave a question. And then about 10 minutes before the game, he came to find me at the end. He goes, you know what, I want to redo my question. And, and I was struggling because I'm not really very tech savvy. I was sort of struggling with my phone. And he was just so patient and waited for me and then taped that question that he wound up airing during the game. And I thought to myself after, young Alec Boehm would not have had patience for that. He would have not understood the resonance of something like that and how it would play with the fan base. But, man, he gets it now. And, I think that same sort of maturation is something you see in his hitting as well. I think he's emerging as one of the best hitters in the National League.
Buster, what attributes do you observe with Rob Thompson, who I know you've observed for a long time, and people you could correlate him to that have led teams to championships?
He has Joe Torre's calm. He does not overreact. He has a lot of faith in his players. The players feel that. They respond to him. There are definitely managers that you will see who will overreact. If something goes wrong, then they blame the players. With Rob, it's all about we. And there are times when he probably feels like, geez, what is that guy thinking? Or what is he doing? The same thing we're all thinking. But when he meets with the media, I think in his conversations with his players, it's much more collaborative than that. And I think that's absolutely his nature. And my experience is in baseball. Look, football might be different because you're building up to one game every Sunday. In baseball, over the course of 6 months, that steady personality of not overreacting in a moment really plays well with players, especially in the current generation where players really don't like to be criticized.
Buster, you talked about that Alec Boehm clip that you did. And there's also a sense of relationship between Alec Boehm and Brandon Marsh. There's a relationship between every single player on this team, it seems.
Yes.
I've seen teams win championships where they weren't the best of friends. But how much do you, in all your years covering baseball, how much do you value a cohesive locker room? Because this one seems very, very special. They seem to all be best friends, right? You talked about the relationship between the Phillies players and the Phillies fans. Like, all of this is true. How much do you value that kind of cohesiveness?
I'll let Alex Anthopoulos, who, the head of baseball operations for the enemy of the Phillies, the Braves, he said to me a few years ago that when he first worked as a general manager with the Toronto Blue Jays, he poo-pooed locker room culture. Like, he dismissed it. It wasn't a big deal. And then Mark DeRosa joined the Blue Jays and began to talk to him about it. And now Alex Anthopoulos is like, it's real and it matters. And so every time the Braves bring in a player, and you guys see this because they have a great culture too, every time they bring in a player, they focus on not only about production, but also how does this personality mix in with this group. The questions are to other teams. I remember talking to a Braves official last year at the trade deadline. I asked about a particular player, and he goes, no, the guy's a jerk, and no one was going to want him around. I think it's absolutely real. And, yeah, there are teams, famously those A's teams back in the 70s, would have locker room brawls. But I think generally speaking in this era, especially with social media, it is important for the players to relate to each other and connect with each other, which is why, and I'm sure I said this to you before, I think Kyle Schwarber is as great a teammate in fostering that sort of clubhouse as any player that I've ever been around. He works at it. It matters to him. Kevin Long, the hitting coach, said to me, every day when Kyle Schwarber shows up, he cares about two things, winning and about pulling players together. And I think that manifests with that group.
All right, last one before we let you go. I could talk to you, literally all day. Your preseason prediction was Phillies-Yankees. How are we feeling through, we're more than a quarter of the way through the season.
He looks smart, except picking vacation spots.
Montana, with the snow you got in May. How are we feeling through 51 games for the Phillies and a couple more for the Yankees? Are we still thinking Phils-Yanks?
Well, I must be an idiot when it comes to picking permanent homes because this is where I live.
Oh, I forgot about that, yes.
Yeah, okay, so I live in Montana, and as someone who last year picked the Padres to win the World Series, I am feeling like a genius right now. Yeah. I am reformed. I am reborn. Of course I'm feeling super smart because right at this moment, the Phillies are the best team in the National League and the Yankees are the best team in the American League, and you know what? They're on path to face each other, and I could do a victory lap maybe in October at some point. Finally.
Come on in when the Yankees play the Phils in late July. We'll come see you.
Awesome. That'll be great.
Thanks, Buster.
Buster, thank you so much. You do a tremendous job for ESPN. Always love having you on talking Phillies baseball. We appreciate it.
That sounds great, guys. Thanks for having me.
There he is, Buster Olney on the Comcast Business Hotline.
I forgot he was another one of those.
From his lots of snow in Montana. Unbelievable. But he still thinks very highly of this Phillies team, as should all of us. So I want to continue this conversation. We'll pull another question from the hat. I also have a question that I didn't want to put into the hat because I didn't want it to get lost. And it's about us scoffing at other teams' moves that they have made. And then it worked out for them. Can you think of one? I want to discuss this next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatics.
Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic. Coming up, we have another question that we're going to pull out of the hat because we got a bunch of random questions today.
Connor, did Andrew tell you? I said, I think this should just be a Friday summer thing.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
The ones that we don't get to today, keep them for next week.
And maybe we solicit from the audience, too, for coming week.
Oh, absolutely.
To put some in
And
the
it's
mix.
sports questions, it's life questions, it's anything. And it's not a specific segment. It's just randomly throughout the show. We'll pull a question out of the hat. But there was one thing that I wanted to get into that I didn't want to put in the hat because I didn't want it to go to waste.
Okay, what's that? Didn't want it to go to waste.
I didn't want it to go to. I didn't.
Well, you're cutting the line with this question.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
That is cutting the line.
That's unfair.
That's unfair. You're cutting the line.
I have a question for you guys, and I posed it to you before we went to break for you to think about it. What was the move that you scoffed at that another team made that ended up working for them? Like at the time, you know how we always do the whole, what was the thing that you were wrong about with the Philadelphia team? What was the move that you scoffed at? And I'm telling you right now, I scoffed at 2 moves, and both teams are in the Western Conference Finals.
I scoffed at the big 3 in Boston.
Which one? Porzingis?
Boston.
Or
the big 3. The original big 3.
Okay.
I absolutely scoffed at that, saying it will not work.
What made you scoff at that?
I did not believe that you built a team that way. So in my very linear thinking, I was like, that's not how you build a team.
And this was 16 years ago. This was Super LeBron, super
and
teams,
I said,
and all that kind of stuff.
It was the original.
Yeah.
And I said, hell no. That's not how you build a team.
Interesting.
You don't go out.
My first thought was, this team's going to be scary.
See, and I was
because it was the first of the super teams.
And I immediately, in error, discounted it and said, this is a formula that won't work. And I think I may have said on air that it will backfire spectacularly.
Well,
my comment did.
And it did. Your
only my comment
backfired.
did, exactly.
So I ripped the Rudy Gobert trade. I still think it's wild that they gave up as much as they did for a guy that plays defense.
Hey.
And nothing else. And they're in the Western Conference Finals. I love Kyrie Irving, the basketball player. You guys know my love affair for Luka Doncic.
Ever meet him in person, you will feel differently. Is all I will tell you.
No, Luka Doncic.
No, I'm saying about Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, no. Basketball
player you'd really like.
But Luka and Kyrie, I did not think would be able to work well together. They have been tremendous. They're in the Western Conference Finals. Now, I did say this to you guys a couple of weeks ago, and I love that I finally heard it on the overnight with Windy, that Kyrie Irving's bought in more as a human being to playing basketball. Because the last couple of years, remember, he took the random birthday trip where he disappeared for 2 weeks. There was a lot more going on other than just basketball for him. And look, he's human. He's allowed to have feelings and opinions, even though some of them were horrible. But he is bought in as a basketball player, and he is still very good at it. And that's why they're in the Western Conference Finals right now.
I didn't think that would work either.
Neither did I. I'm amazed that the 2 moves that I really didn't understand, not just didn't understand, didn't like, those 2 teams are in the Western Conference Finals.
Anytime Kyrie shows you any bit of humanity, it's well worth it. Like that he shows that I think he's done a really good job of sort of reinvention in Dallas.
He absolutely.
And I'll give him credit.
Absolutely. And he deserves a ton of credit, and it really hasn't been talked about. He's talked about when he does things that people don't agree with, but nobody's really talked about him playing good basketball this year and focusing on basketball, and he has done that, and he's been tremendous. Connor, was there a time where you scoffed at a move? I know what you're going to say. I've never been wrong.
Not what I'm going to say.
All right, what's the time?
Very few times.
What's the time you scoffed at a move and it definitely worked out for that team?
I don't want to say it, but I thought it was really the dumbest gamble in sports for Kawhi Leonard to be signed by the Toronto Raptors, or traded for by the Toronto Raptors.
It was a huge gamble.
I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. I'm like, they're wasting everything. It's one shot. It's so hard to win. They're never going to beat this team. They're never going to beat that team.
I think you were alone on that one at all.
Yeah, but
you weren't alone.
I hate bringing it up.
But it worked. I mean,
but it worked at our expense, and I hate it.
I know. Dude, I don't think you're alone in thinking that.
I don't think he's alone either.
What is Toronto doing giving up as much as they gave for a guy.
On top of that, getting rid of Dwayne Casey, like right before that.
Yeah, that's right.
Was insane.
He
like,
won Coach of the Year.
I thought they were the dumbest organization in the world.
And they end up winning a championship. Unbelievable, man.
Before us.
Yeah, thanks.
Over us.
Yeah, over us.
Well, no,
Yeah.
they beat him in the second round. That's not.
All
The
right.
team they beat in the
All right, we're not doing
championship was
that.
over.
One of the questions that we pulled out of the hat was changing your legiancy if you ever moved. And obviously we all agreed, no, you don't change your legiancy. But then we got into a conversation about fandom. And I think if you are a fan of a previous team and you change to being a Philadelphia sports fan or any fan, forget Philadelphia for a second, I think that's a weird thing to do.
I agree.
Very strange. Let's go to Bam in Long Beach who wants to talk about it. What's up, Bam?
What's going on? How you doing?
How you doing?
Good job, Bam.
I'm good. I live in Long Beach now, right? But when I moved here, a lot of my friends were Dodgers fans, right? But they saw that I was wearing all my Phillies gear. They're like, man, we're gonna join the bandwagon. We're gonna be Phillies fans now. We're gonna be all. But they're actually 100% Eagles fans. But they were never Phillies fans. They were all Dodgers fans. So
Okay. And how old are they?
they're 29 and 35.
Oh, wow. So they weren't Phillies fans even when they beat the Dodgers in the playoffs back-to-back years?
No.
When did they jump ship, Bam?
This year. This year.
See, now you've kept your legiancy, and I respect that.
Yes. I grew up in Philly, so I like,
right.
you know.
But your kids were born in L.A. or in the California area.
It's a nice area. Bam, you ever go to Gallagher's? Is that still there?
I think it's still there, but I've never been there yet.
That's it. Well, a lot of Philly people would hang out at Gallagher's in Long Beach.
All right.
Used to have an office.
Appreciate the call, Bam.
They would hang out at Gallagher's.
Okay.
That was a spot for Eagle. You could, if I was going to my office that I had to go to in California, I would drive to Gallagher's in Long Beach.
The Philly bar.
And there would be some, always at least 20, 25 Eagles fans.
You know what's amazing? He said his 35 and 20-some-year-old
friends, I think he was saying friends.
Okay, they jumped ship this year after the Dodgers signed Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto.
You know, I told you just a couple weeks ago that my buddy's raising his kids out in L.A. They're Dodger fans. And his high school team, they all wanted to go to see the Phillies.
Yeah.
When they were coming into the Angels.
Like,
and
why
they all
would we
went to an
fight
interview.
that?
No, but it's
okay. No, it's okay to want to see a team, but I don't want them to all of a sudden be Phillies fans just because the Phillies are good.
I just heard that if the Phillies are playing the Dodgers in the National League Championship Series, there's going to be two more people in red shirts out there at Dodgers games.
No, they're Dodgers fans.
They're Dodger fans. They just wanted to see the Phillies. The Phillies
Those guys.
Dude, I'm a Sixers fan. I wanted to see LeBron and the Miami Heat
Those
come
guys
to
are
town.
Eagles fans that are now rooting for the Phillies, that you could switch their allegiance away from a team you could play, and how you guys can't see that that's a good thing.
And then you know what they
insane.
do? They switch right back. When the Dodgers win the World Series in 2 years, they're Dodgers fans.
I don't care.
I do.
I do.
You can't snip, snap, snip, snap,
Yes,
snip,
you
snap.
can.
No,
Do
you
you
can't.
How great would it be if every home field was Phillies?
I already have 45,000 Phillies fans that go that aren't fraudulent.
We live in Madnessville. It's truly a maddening time. I heard Ramona Shelburne on the overnight on ESPN doing when literally they were asking about why should Bronny James ever be drafted. Kendrick Perkins is like, this is ridiculous. Why is he even there? And Ramona Shelburne goes, don't you want to root for a good father? Isn't it great that he's rooting for his son? I'm like, we're living in crazy times.
That's your LeBron thing. That's totally separate.
But we're living in crazy times where Connor, Ramona, they just want the feel good. They just want to feel good.
Okay, I got you.
It's a feel-good story. I don't want the feel-good story. Stay out.
All right, coming up next, we pull another question from the hat. We continue our conversation about the Phillies being the best team in baseball. No question about it. Got a lot more in store for you. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Now, around the bases with Andrew Salciunas.
It's freaking delicious, but
that looks nice.
The middle break is so short, I couldn't finish it.
Yeah, it's a nice apple.
First, I had to find it in the bag. Then I had to rinse it off because it was in the bottom of my backpack that has seen hell. That's the same backpack I've had since my freshman year of college.
It's a strange.
Where I used to put beer cans and all kinds of other things in it.
Oh, beer battered apples. Let's go.
Yeah.
That if they were if you were searched, you would have had some problems.
Absolutely, which is why you know the routes to walk to get to the parties, John. That's amazing. Come on, man. Listen, you got to learn the streets when you're at Temple.
Yeah, the mean streets.
Well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, I have a child. I have a child there right now.
Yes, John, that's actually accurate. The mean streets of Temple.
Yes.
All right, so we're gonna get another question out of the hat soon, but I'm glad that he called in because we've actually mentioned him a few times. You've talked about the atmosphere at Citizens Bank Park. It also carries into the people that work there, the ushers. Everybody's awesome. When you first walk in, the people that are checking your tickets, checking security. Everybody at Citizens Bank Park.
Great atmosphere.
Everybody there. They just hire the right people every single time. I don't think I've ever had a bad run-in with an usher, right?
I'm blaming you. If someone goes and tells me they had a bad experience with an usher or something,
it's you.
I'm blaming them.
Right, exactly.
Yes, Karen.
So our man Dave from Ben Salem works with the Phillies. He's there every single day, so he knows how electric Citizens Bank Park is. And how about yesterday, a sellout crowd for a business person special?
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Unbelievable.
I'm sure it happened during the big run of 07 to 12.
But it's not just
it's amazing.
A business person special. School is still in session. Mm-hmm. Kids still aren't done school yet.
Well, they were there learning yesterday from Ricky
weather.
Bello.
Yeah, exactly. They were learning. Let's go to our man Davey from Ben Salem. What's up, Dave?
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing, Andrew? How are you, John? How are you, Connor? Thank you so much for giving a shout-out to all us hard-working Phillies employees down there.
You guys are the best. You guys are the best.
And sometimes
we want the fans to be happy, brother. That's what we want. That's what I root for every day when I'm at that ballpark.
And then
when they leave there, they go home happy, man.
And then sometimes you migrate over to the Wells Fargo Center, too.
Yes, I do.
And bring that same love and energy.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Andrew knows I got hired there in 2022. It's the best experience I've ever had in my life. So just talk quick baseball with you. Thanks for having Buster on. That was a great conversation. Rob just seems to be pushing the right buttons right now. Sosa in the lineup on Wednesday and Thursday, coming up big. Pache yesterday. Strom coming out of the bullpen. He just seems to be making the right moves right now.
Damn right, man.
Some are by necessity, but some of them are excellent.
Right, and Mundo Sosa's playing shortstop.
Some of them are a feel
because of the injury, but he's doing a great job, and that's why I wanted to bring it up yesterday. And thanks for the call, Dave. We always love hearing from you. He gets ripped when they lose, and he makes decisions, but I don't think he really gets much credit when they win.
I think that's because of the fact that almost any baseball manager would tell you they're going to affect the outcome of 10 games.
I got you.
It's their job to build the culture. It's their job to manage the personalities.
But I'm sure there are people that were upset that Brandon Marsh was not in the lineup yesterday because they were going up against a left-handed pitcher. He has the decision to play Whit Merrifield. Christian Pache's the starting center instead of Johan Rojas. And those guys at the bottom of the order came through for him.
I think it's what he's doing, too, is when you are 37-14, you can afford to keep throwing Nick Castellanos out there when he's terrible.
Except for yesterday.
And you can throw him out there.
Yeah.
And you can say, try to work your way out of it.
Right. And he's starting to put together some decent games. There's still the offers every once in a while.
He had one game where he had 3 hits. And then he had 4 games with none. I mean, it's but you can do that when you're 37-14.
Right. His last 4 games. So May 18th, he finished the day batting 194. Since then, 3 for 4 against the Nationals with 2 ribbies. 0 for 4 the next day.
Right.
0 for 2, but 2 walks. Which look, Castellanos doesn't walk, so if he's walking, I'll take it.
How wild is the pitcher? If you're walking Castellanos.
And then yesterday, he goes 2 for 4 with the home run.
It was nice to see that yesterday, but it's you can afford to do that when you're
absolutely
20-some games over.
Absolutely. All right, give us another question out of the hat, Connor.
All right, let's dig in the bag of tricks here. And this next question, man, how many times do these guys fold this up? These things are folded
I didn't fold them.
I didn't do anything. I just sent you mine.
People always say they could do our jobs. What is a high visibility job that you know you could do?
I could do Adam Joseph's job in a second.
Buddy, I've heard you predict the weather wrong 3 times this week.
No, yesterday it didn't rain. They delayed the game for no rain. That was ridiculous. I could do Adam Joseph's job. I could stand at the Weather Center. I could do it. If Adam wants to take a
Does he think you can do the job?
I would have to.
Because I know people that say they can do this and they can't.
Now, look, I'm sure Adam is, he's got the Channel 6 weather team behind him, feeding him great information. There are times where I have texted him and said, change the board. They have a Phillies logo on Wednesday, and there's no Phillies game Wednesday, and they've changed it. I could do that job. The great weather team behind me, I could absolutely stand on camera and do the weather. No question.
I'm going to say one that you guys are going to rip, but I truly believe it.
What?
I can manage a baseball team.
I think you would. I could be
Rob Thompson.
I think you absolutely have Rob Thompson vibes to you.
Stop it.
I could totally be Rob Thompson.
I absolutely think you could. The only thing is, you wouldn't have the respect.
If I ever came close to saying that, I'd be tarred and
I didn't say I can go out there and beat Bryce Harper.
You just said you could be the manager of the best team in baseball.
I said I could be a guy that wears a uniform and sits on the bench all day.
I want the same damn energy that I get when I say something like that.
No, you say
you don't give Thompson vibes. He gives Thompson
I don't
vibes.
care what vibes he gives.
You know who else does? Ray Dunn.
Ray Dunn. Yeah.
Ray Dunn has a little of the Thompson
Connor,
vibes.
quickly, give us your answer that we'll make fun of.
Oh, my God. I was honestly expecting us to go to break, so I hadn't thought of it yet.
Think of it.
Fine. Think of it during the break.
I'm still dealing with you saying you can manage the Phillies.
Coming up, I said a baseball club. Coming up at 9:10, we'll play the 5 best minutes from Buster Olney. He was spectacular. Preseason prediction, Phillies win the World Series. Hear what Buster said earlier today with us. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5, The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
The Phils keep dominating. I'm Connor Thomas. This update is brought to you by Groundworks, your expert for basement waterproofing and foundation repair since 1997. Book your free inspection at groundworks.com. The Phils swept the Rangers. It's their second straight sweep. A 5-2 win yesterday got the job done. It was the bottom of the order this time. They got a lot of work done at the plate, but Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto, both homered in the game. Zach Wheeler, 7 innings of 2-run ball. Everyone on this team's contributing right now. The Phils now travel to Colorado for a 3-game series with the Rockies over the Memorial Day weekend. Christopher Sanchez faces Ty Blatch in the pitching matchup tonight. 8:40 p.m. first pitch out in Denver.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Friday morning.
How many more can you slip in there? It is beautiful.
10 more. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a Fanatic Friday presented by Pumpman Philly for 24/7 emergency repair or pump replacement. Count on Pumpman Philly, the guys to know to fix your flow. Maybe now's the time where people are going to start getting in their car, start heading down the shore if they took Friday off. It might be right around that time. You slept in, maybe had a nice breakfast, and now you start heading down.
You're a Jersey person. What is the for those coming from across the bridge, like us Philly people? What time do we avoid? Is there an hour? Is there an hour on a Friday?
Probably now.
You should have gone. Right now,
you should have left 2 hours ago.
So my wife works at Cooper University Hospital, which is a 18-minute drive to my house. It took her 50 minutes to get home yesterday.
Yeah, that's absurd.
All right. From Camden to Sewell, it took her 50 minutes. There were people probably already going down yesterday.
It's all the jug handles.
And so I can only imagine what it is. Oh, by the way, speaking of driving, we got to get to something that was tweeted out. You saw it. I saw it. Isaiah Rodgers.
Yeah.
One of the newer members of the Philadelphia Eagles tweeted out about Jersey and PA drivers that we're going to have to discuss.
I'm betting that Isaiah wishes he hadn't sent that.
Oh,
he may be too.
I'm ready to get him. I'm ready to ask for his release.
Okay.
We'll get to it coming up at some point this segment. But here's what we've been talking about today. Buster Olney, by the way, will replay the best 5 minutes coming up at 9:10 today. He joined us earlier today at 8 o'clock. So we first started talking about the Phillies. Obviously, they complete the sweep against the Texas Rangers, the defending World Series champions. And we got into a conversation about whether or not we are comfortable when our teams are this good. And look, I'm not just saying that to say it's because I have gotten a sense from people in the past that they are uncomfortable when teams are good and they don't like being the top dog. They'd rather be the underdog. They have more fun when they're the underdog. They enjoy it when it's a surprise more. Damn it, you know what? I like surprises, but I also like knowing when things are going to be coming my way that are great. And I knew that the Phillies would be good this season, not as good as they are right now, 37-14. I am enjoying every second of this.
Why wouldn't you enjoy it? And those who enjoy being the underdog, who really crave it and want that instead, are people who don't want expectations on their shoulders.
Maybe that's what it is.
They want to be able to say, well, we had a great run, but we didn't win. They want to be able to have that safety net of fandom. I don't want any part of that. I want my team to be. Right? I don't live my life with that mentality.
Yeah, but
so in any walk of life do I live with that mentality.
Pressure's a difficult thing to deal with, whether you're playing on the field or whether you're a fan of the team, and some people want to remove that from the
I will
equation.
tell you right now, there is more pressure what I'm doing today for work, right? Because now the spotlight is on the guys that host the show. I would much rather be doing this than what I used to be doing.
I understand. Some people don't like that.
Yeah, well, the thing is,
we enjoy that. That's why we do what we do.
Well, that's why I identify. But the thing is, here's what doesn't make sense, and I'll never understand it. The sports fan that feels pressure because their team is in something. Look, it's freaking entertainment.
Yes.
It is entertainment. If you are so stressed by something that is a social activity that you put the pressure on it, I think people put their own, somehow they feel it reflects on them personally, whether their team does well.
Wow. I've got you guys now.
No, I do.
I've been in a bad mood when my teams have lost.
No, that's it. Fine. And that's fine. You can be in a bad mood. Absolutely. But if you're telling me, I feel pressure for my team to succeed, look, just enjoy your 37-14. Savor every freaking minute of it because we don't usually get this. We don't usually have these kind of rides.
No, you're right.
It's not serious enough to feel pressure, but it is serious enough that other people can enjoy it with you and convert.
No, I don't want anybody who's not true to the heart. I want to check absolutely. I want someone true.
Connor, I don't understand how you have this
point
feeling.
of view.
You are willing to welcome a Mets fan onto the Phillies bandwagon who has probably hated the Phillies, ripped the Phillies, was glad every time they plunked Chase Utley, was glad when Chase Utley got hurt, wanted the team to fail, wanted everybody to be miserable in Philadelphia. Now all of a sudden, because the Phillies are good, I want to jump on the Phillies bandwagon.
It's one more for us, one less for them.
No, you're tainted to me for life.
Yes.
You are born with the scarlet letter, and I have no interest in you joining the party. And someone called you a gatekeeper earlier.
Connor did.
One of our listeners also was just saying the gatekeeper thing. I damn well want Andrew Salciunas man in the gate. I want you man in the gate with an old musket.
Sure.
I want you just being there going, stay out, because I don't want your karma. I don't want your energy. And you were a turncoat.
I know
You're
that there will be 45,000 people at a Phillies game that were Phillies fans from the beginning. I don't need another one that used to be a Mets fan that used to boo the Phillies. I don't need a Cowboys fan jumping on board with the Eagles. I already got enough Eagles fan. I don't need a fraudulent Cowboys fan to jump on board because they haven't won since the VHS era. Like, I don't need that,
The building is full. We don't need you. We do not need someone just deciding that they want in now.
It's more than your building.
Because things
they play other places. This is why the Eagles are playing in Brazil. Like, building the fan base
you know who's traveling?
is a
Philadelphia.
good thing.
Eagles fans are going.
I understand. And the hope is that there are some fans created down there. Growing the team's fan base is good for the team. People that root for you is better than people rooting for the opposition.
And then they're going to jump off board and go to a different team.
And maybe they will.
Connor,
and when they do,
I know you're going to.
Then kick rocks. But until they do.
But a team who roots for you has never won a sporting event.
That's completely incorrect.
I kind of disagree.
Who roots for you?
You could not be more incorrect.
Yeah, it's having good home field advantage is good, even though that worked for the Phillies last year.
I mean, the Phillies had the best home field advantage. You heard Buster Olney. Best home field advantage. And what did they do? They wet themselves at home the last games, the last two games of the last most important critical playoff series. It didn't mean a damn thing. Players play, fans cheer. If the fans cheer, it does make them feel good.
Okay.
It does give it. But for
nobody cheer.
But it makes them feel good. But if you think that it affects the outcome of a great pitcher,
it 100% does. And you're crazy for thinking it doesn't.
It helps having the back of a pitcher. It does.
It doesn't. Look, those should have intimidated the Astros. Should have intimidated the lousy Diamondbacks.
Just because they didn't win doesn't mean it didn't make a difference.
It didn't intimidate. It didn't cause them to win. What it does is it creates a wonderful atmosphere that people want to play in. And players may want to join.
Well, then that is a part of it.
But in the game itself,
the entire Braves organization, they called it 4 hours of hell.
They called it was madness.
So that didn't intimidate them. That didn't have any effect. What are we talking about here?
Them.
And then but it didn't the Diamondbacks. And
okay, well then maybe some cultures are different. Maybe some locker rooms are different. Maybe some locker rooms can't handle it, like Atlanta. Clearly, in 2 years.
Connor's thinking that you're talking about. We need more people in to be able to do this. I don't need it. I need people that are, and the people who show up in October, like John Crux said earlier from our Twitter account, the people who show up in October, it bothers me.
You're disrespecting my wife, John. Watch yourself.
It bothers me.
Watch yourself, John.
I'd rather see somebody who watched 140 games have that ticket.
Watch yourself,
I'd rather have it. Sorry, Christy.
Christy brought the noise that day.
Sorry, Christy.
She's been to 2 closeout games. You might actually want her to go. Close out Padres, close out Braves. You might actually want her to go.
Haley believes in this stuff. I didn't think you did. The idea that somebody being at a game affects the outcome.
Hey, my sweatshirt got washed. Carson Wentz's Achilles tore.
We're blaming Christy for that one.
Let's go to cousin Ryan. Ryan, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Hey, boys, what's going on? Happy Friday.
What's up, Ryan?
I just want to call in and chime in with John. I mean, we have to be grateful for what this team is doing because we've been asking them to do it for the last 3 to 4 years.
Of course.
Beat the teams you should. Drive in the runs that are in scoring position. We'll finish out the game. You know, this is such a great ride. Sit back, enjoy it, cheer on your
Who
team.
hasn't been enjoying it?
I have no idea. But
we're
you know what?
enjoying it completely.
I'm so grateful for this team because they're having fun and they're having fun and it's making fun for us.
Absolutely, yeah, and I mean there are people that are still questioning the schedule. But look, Buster said it right away, and thanks for the call, Ryan. Buster did say right away. Now he did say that doesn't matter because you have to beat the teams that are in front of you. And oh, by the way, the last 2 years the Phillies were not beating the teams that were in front of them.
And when you hear people go, "What does 100 wins matter?" It doesn't matter. 4 of the last 7 or 3 of the last 6. Have won 100 games. World
Series champions.
So, I mean, anybody who starts spinning that nonsense to you, winning 100 games means you're really damn good.
That means you're a good baseball team, right?
Really, really good.
There's not many fraudulent 100-win teams in baseball.
Could you lose a 5-game series? 2011 Phillies will show you.
Yep.
That absolutely could happen. Will it happen? This team's starting to make people question whether they're going to ever lose again.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we were joined earlier today by Buster Olney from ESPN. Does a tremendous job covering Major League Baseball, and he's still fired about the Phillies. Remember, before the season started, he predicted the Phillies to beat the Yankees in the World Series. Here was Buster earlier today on Kincade Salciunas. Buster, before the season started, your prediction was the Phillies to win the World Series over the New York Yankees. But I'm going to take a guess right now. You did not predict them to be 37-14 through 51 games. How impressive a start has this been for the Phils?
Yeah, remarkable. I look, and I think you start out with acknowledging the fact that they have played this really soft schedule. You know, as you guys, I'm sure, have talked about, you know, only the games against the Braves early in the season were the only games against teams over 500. My own feeling is that doesn't matter.
Yep.
You know, you beat, you have to beat who you play, and that's what they've been doing. And they've beaten the heck out of everybody. And their rotation clearly is deeper than I think what a lot of people thought. You know, their bullpen has come together well. Their lineup depth, you know, with the emergence of Bohm and the continued progress of Stott, it is a remarkable team. And I mentioned this to you before the season started. I really also thought that this was a group that would live to be motivated. You know, they would have a drive from what happened last October, and I lived that as a reporter when you know, I was covering the Yankees in 1998, following the '97 playoff disappointment. The following year, the team was just driven every day, and that was the team that wound up winning 114 games in the regular season and winning the World Series. I think that's a real thing. I think it helps teams get through. That sort of motivation helps teams get through the long regular season, and so the Phillies are absolutely flying.
Buster, we would have you on many times back in Atlanta talking about how the regular seasons almost became nonchalant. The Braves would roll along and would dominate, and then when October came around, they weren't able to flip the switch and get that same energy back. Why do you think this Phillies team will be different? They've had to bust their way in the last 2 years to the last minute. This year looks like it'll be a little more casual.
Yes, well, for a couple of things. First off, you know, as the old saying goes, today's momentum is the starting pitcher, right? And the fact is that while, you know, it's going to be a slog inevitably over the course of the long regular season, like we all have days on our jobs where we're more motivated than other days, the starting pitchers drive that. And when you have someone like Zach Wheeler and you have someone like Nola and Ranger Suarez and you know, the back end of their rotation, I think that's going to continue to push them. That's what it did with the 98 Yankee team. Every day they would be driven. The other thing, too, that I think is a real factor for this team, and I thought it was a factor for that Yankee team, was the home field crowd. It's the best home field advantage in baseball. The relationship between the players and the crowd seems absolutely tangible to the point that I think on those days when players are flat, and again, I don't mean that as a criticism. That is human nature. We all go through it. On those days when they're flat, I think the crowd helps to lift them and to keep them accountable and to push them through those moments. And look, I think there's inevitably going to be a slide. You know, there might be a team meeting. The players might say, hey, we need to pick it up. But this is a team that's going to roll into October with a lot of momentum and a lot of memory about what happened last October.
We're speaking to Buster Olney on the Business Hotline. Buster, when people think about the Phillies, their first thoughts is typically probably Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos. Yeah. You yourself mentioned how the strength is also from Bryson Stott and guys like Alec Bohm, who are on a tear this year. What are your opinions on Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm, and how are they perceived league-wide from other GMs, other people that cover Major League Baseball? Because the first thought is Bryce Harper, but you have guys like Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm who contribute almost every single day for this team.
Yeah, I think Bohm in particular was seen as someone who had a lot of talent, and clearly someone who had a lot of ability to hit, but he would go through these dips and slide. And this year, it just seems changed. And look, one of the cool things about your job, about my job, is we, get to meet these players when they're 19 or 20 years old, and you see them grow as people over time. Bryce is a great example of that, from the time that he started with the Nationals and, the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 15 to where he is now. He is a different person. That's what happens. And with Alec Bohm, I felt the same thing. So the last time we were on Sunday Night Baseball, we had Brandon Marsh wearing the microphone. As you guys know, he's roommates with Alec Bohm. And I went up to Bowen before the game and said, look, we want to ambush Brandon with a question from you on air. And I taped something with him about 2 hours before the game with my iPhone where he gave a question. And then about 10 minutes before the game, he came to find me at the end. He goes, you know what? I want to redo my question. And, and I was struggling because I'm not really very tech savvy. I was sort of struggling with my phone. And he was just so patient and waited for me, and then taped that question that he wanted that wound up airing during the game. And I thought to myself after, young Alec Boehm would not have had patience for that. He would have not understood the resonance of something like that and how it would play with the fan base. But man, he gets it now. And I think that same sort of maturation is something you see in his hitting as well. I think he's emerging as one of the best hitters in the National League.
I almost jumped the gun there, or I did jump the gun there. That was the 5 best minutes from Buster Olney earlier today on Kincade and Salciunas. If you want to hear the entire conversation, you can check it out again on 97.5thefanatic.com. I absolutely love Buster, and he loves his Phillies team, man. This team is good.
I think people love hearing I think a lot of people love hearing us being so pumped about it. But when it's the national guy or someone who is a quote-unquote like outsider tells you how great your team looks, or you feel like it's okay, this is a little more unbiased.
This is real, right?
A little more unbiased.
Right, absolutely. And I love it, and I love that Buster had to say that stuff. I love that we had Bob Nightingale on the station earlier this week with Kevin Cooney talking about how the Phillies are the top team in the National League. Tim Kirkshin joined us a few weeks ago and has since said it again on ESPN over and over again, how the Phillies are the best team, not just in the National League, but all of Major League Baseball.
Now, even like when Tim Kirkshin joined us before the season, Tim Kirkshin talked about the Phillies are right there with the Braves and the
Dodgers. Yeah.
Now, but Buster had the guts to say
World Series.
They're number one and they're the best team.
Absolutely.
I didn't see what Buster saw. Nobody saw this.
No,
37 and
14.
And
he didn't see 37-14.
No, but Buster saw them as the best team in baseball. He believed it.
And, I think a lot of us said World Series or bust this year, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm enjoying every moment right now, so I'm not going to be like, oh, my God, but what happens in October?
No, you can't.
But we all said it's the same thing coming into the season, that it's World Series or bust.
I've been fighting that fight since March. This team is amazing.
Yeah.
And
that's
fun.
why you should have World Series expectations, but we'll get there when we get there. All right, so coming up in the next segment, we'll pull another question from the hat, but something that we need to address.
Okay.
Isaiah Rodgers might need to be released by the Eagles.
Well, let me check my BetParks app and see what the odds are on that.
Stop. He apologized.
Oh, he apologized.
So he puts out this tweet yesterday, 10:08 p.m. I'm going to say this and leave it there. Y'all do not know how to drive in Philly and Jersey. All right, bye. Now, there has been the Philly versus Jersey, the PA versus Jersey battle for ages now, ever since the car was first invented, I heard.
I remember this when I was first learning to drive.
But now we have an outsider thinking all of a sudden he knows what's going on around here. No, you just stink at driving. I know right away already. Isaiah Rodgers, you stink at driving. If you think that Jersey people specifically can't drive well, it's you Pennsylvanians that can't drive at all.
I know a few things he stinks at. Like, maybe decision-making. But as far as his driving insights, please.
I think we're superior drivers, especially Jersey side.
No, Jersey, no problem.
Yeah, you Pennsylvanians.
PA stinks, though.
PA is horrible.
Yeah.
You guys muck up our roads come short time.
Yeah, we're glad. You pay to get into which state?
Well, I have to come here to work.
Yeah, you pay to get in.
You guys know the gas pedal's the one on the right?
Yeah,
it's been that way for like 100 years.
We don't pay to get. What you get is you get the Connor types. That'll be like that. They'll be tailgating you with the guy with the.
Because you guys go 40 in the left lane.
Get out of my way.
Yeah, it's the jug handles.
The people.
No, it's not. You can't just list the word for the road.
My biggest beef with the Pennsylvanians. Biggest beef. So some short points, you take the expressway. You got 4 lanes. You're cruising. Sometimes you got to take the back road if you're going to Wildwood. And it's I don't know what road that is. It's the one.
47.
Is that what it is?
I think it's 47. It's either 47 or 55.
You're driving through the Pine Barrens pretty much, right?
I know
it's either 47 or 55.
Goes by that super Wawa that all the motorcycles are at.
Yes, I know that the speed limit's 50. But my God, dude, kick it up a notch.
Go 70.
You're allowed to pass in that, but every once when it's short traffic and people are coming back the other way, you can't pass. And you're driving 50, holding up the whole damn road. It's you Pennsylvanians.
Isaiah's from Tampa.
Yeah, he does.
And, hey, if you don't want us bolstering your economy and helping your schools, then put up a fence. But as long as you do, if we own property down there or go down to, pour the money into the businesses, be welcoming. Be welcoming.
But he's not talking about down there, I don't think. I think he's talking about
New Jersey. No,
Jersey.
Yeah, I'm saying is Pennsylvanians coming to Jersey. If you don't want your schools being better because all the money we pour into your state.
So hang on.
How's this? We're talking about driving, bro.
The thing is, we have to drive to go. What are we going to take, copters?
I've got Kincade now. So you could be bandwagon Jersey, but we can't have bandwagon sports fans.
It's not bandwagon Jersey.
Stay in your own state. We don't need more in New Jersey.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Jersey Shore properties, I saw a thing in Business Journal, whatever, are majority, over 50% are owned by Pennsylvanians.
That's great.
Okay.
And then then over 50% of you muck up my road.
We can't take a helicopter to get there. So, a little less jug handles.
It's almost like people should be allowed to enjoy things and
No, that has nothing to do with it. You're so weird when it comes to that.
I'm not.
You're
I've
so
caught,
weird.
I've caught you guys like 3 times on it, and you're just denying it.
No, these are different things, Connor. Not everything's similar.
That's
not everything
similar.
is the same conversation.
Connor, you have a lot of skills. Analogies, you are incredibly poor at. It is not your. It is not your. You do not have your out pitch is not analogies. You have very good. You have a very good, insightful mind on things. But your analogies that's your gopher ball.
You guys can both be wrong.
That is the gopher ball.
You can be wrong together. That's okay.
Coming up next, we'll get another question from the hat, the Wawa Welcome to America hat. Also, Phillies Rockies. We preview the series next.
And Channel 6 is here.
That
makes me a little nervous. Like we're going to be like something bad's happening. I hope it's something good.
You're doing good. You're acting natural. Phil's Rockies preview. They shouldn't lose a game. That's my preview. We'll dive deeper into it coming up next. Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
Fanatic Sports Update.
on Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic on this Fanatic Friday, a vacation Friday. Johnny will be off on Monday. I know coming up at 10 o'clock, it will not be Bob Cooney. Yesterday was his last day of the week. Ray Dunn filling in for Bob coming up at 10. So I guess we do a crossover with Ray.
Ray will be in, and
All
he
right.
is dressed festively.
He is dressed
Which
very
is great.
festively. I think we all are.
We all are for holiday weekend.
Connor's got the Hawaiian shirt on. We got the Hawaiian shirts on. You got the nice American flag. Very patriotic
I got it,
on
yes.
there. That's great.
In Punta Cana, a gentleman wanted to buy this. A gentleman wanted to buy this shirt from me, and I was like,
You didn't do a jersey swap?
No, I meant
that's a good move.
I meant to leave it in the room. It was a member of staff.
Oh, okay.
I meant to leave it, and I didn't leave it.
And now you're wearing
And
it
I feel bad.
in his honor.
In his honor.
Yeah. I've worn this same Hawaiian shirt on the Friday before Memorial Day weekend for like 10 straight years.
That's beautiful.
This same one.
And it's great that in 10 years you can still fit in the same shirt.
That's damn right, man.
That's really good.
Damn right, man. Fat Andrew's never coming back. All right, let's go back to the
Let's hope
phones.
not.
The fan conversation has continued. Let me know if we have any texts about this, Connor. And then we got to pull another question from the hat and also preview the Phillies-Rockies series that should go in the Phillies' favor. Let's go to Edith in Chester. Edith, hello.
Hey guys, how are you this morning?
Good.
Very
How
well,
are you?
Edith.
Good. Look, we don't need no fair weather fans.
Mhm.
We don't need no Met fans. I have two brothers, two separate half brothers that lived in Brooklyn, and they were big Met fans. And now they're down in Florida, in Tampa and Orlando. And I don't know who they voted for, but we don't need them, and we don't need nobody else.
No, because I'm sure when you talked sports with them when you guys were younger, they would probably rip the Phillies.
They always.
Uh-huh.
They do now. And then he calls me. Oh, he called me last year when we had that class with the Eagles, and he just went on and on. I said, let me tell y'all something. You ain't gonna never ever convince me to give up on my team. Never.
Yeah, and then those same people will then want to jump on board one day.
And then flip back.
Yeah, and then flip back. And that's why Connor's ridiculous for having the thought that he has.
Connor is the open borders candidate.
I know,
That's what he is.
Connor, I love you, but you wrong on this one. You wrong on this one, bud.
That's all right, Edith. You can be wrong with John and Andrew.
Connor,
Oh,
you
my
are,
God.
Connor, you
I
are
still
weak
love
on
you.
you
I
are
don't
weak
think so.
on the border.
I don't think so. No. They can't come in. I'm sorry. Because
I
all
love
they're going to do, I mean, you ain't going to be from the beginning. And then you're going to jump in because we winning?
Exactly.
Good job, Edith.
Let me ask you, how's it going to hurt us, Edith?
Look, we don't need them.
We don't need
them,
him, Connor.
Because
We
you know
don't
why?
need him.
They're going to go. But they're going to go right back, like you said, right back on. Soon as one game, lose one game, and I told y'all they wasn't nothing. Let me tell you something. We don't need them.
Damn right,
Let
Edith.
one roach in the house.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're going to have 100 behind the walls.
And thank you for the call, Edith.
No Met fans. I love it.
And we're using Mets as the example because the Phillies are red hot right now. But like, there are Cowboys fans that try to convert.
Oh, well, I live here, but now that the Cowboys are out.
Like, I don't need that, dude. What do you mean? What is it going to hurt? Dude, I don't need to get stabbed in the back.
I don't want you.
That will hurt.
You mean stabbed in the back? Don't turn your back on them. You don't have to trust these people.
Then why should I let them on board if I don't trust them?
Oh my! So you're
This is
telling
war,
me
damn
you're
it.
telling me the sellout crowd yesterday at
Had
Citizens
nothing to
Bank
do
Park,
with former Mets fans. It was Phillies fans.
You do not know that, and you do not trust every single fan in that building. And to say that is lying to me. So don't do
Well,
it.
they know what they know the truth when they go to bed at night.
That's fine, and they can. But they were loud yesterday, and I guarantee you there were converted fans in that building, and we weren't sitting there asking the person to our right or our left, "Hey, were you always a Phillies fan?" They're wearing the colors. They're rooting for the team.
Yeah, well, you
That's
know what?
good enough for me.
I think that's horrible.
Yes.
All right, what do we give us another question out of the hat? The
All
trusty Welcome to America, Made in America, Wawa hat.
Okay. You get to pick one Philly athlete to be a two-sport athlete in this city. Who switches sports and why?
It's so funny that you asked that question, which was not mine. And for some reason,
Not mine either.
For the
It's mine.
On the For You tab, I have a highlight from 2 days ago, and it's Brandon Marsh hitting a single. And that might be my answer because he was, as you can attest to, because
I watched him in high school play
you
football.
watched him. Wasn't he, top recruit?
He was one of the top recruits in the state of. He was one of the top candidates in the state of Georgia
to play football.
Whether he was going to go play football or whether he was going to go to the Major League Baseball draft.
So that
and become a baseball player.
So former top prospect in baseball. Don't forget, he was also a top baseball prospect and football recruit. Brandon Marsh might be my answer.
That's a great one.
It's not a bad pick.
He was Dallas Goedert on the offensive side of the ball, and he was a safety that scared the crap out of receivers.
Really?
He laid people out in the second.
And I can see he's a nutcase. Exactly, dude. He's a perfect safety.
He's our nutcase, but he's a nutcase.
The pride of Buford. Buford High School.
You probably hear him barking from the stand.
I love that guy, dude.
He was an unbelievable high school player and well thought of still in that area, except for his Philly stuff, where he now is persona non grata.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah, they're ready to kill him.
All right, what do you got, John?
I think I would go, and this is going to be I think I would like to see Joel Embiid play for the Union.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
Because I hear how much he loves soccer, and Bob Cooney has talked to me about his ability to dribble, which is incredible. Not dribble a basketball.
Dribble a soccer ball.
With his feet, how he can just he sat on a folding chair, had a ball on his foot, and he managed to put the ball in motion, bounce it around between feet, up feet, off his knee, back to his foot. He said he did it for like 10 minutes without it
Would
ever
he
hitting
be
the ground.
quick enough on a soccer field? I don't think so.
I don't know that he would, but you know.
Quickness,
but he doesn't have to be quick. You just put him in the box for
headers.
You know what he would, and you know what he would be good at? The writhing on the floor when they're trying to get there.
He'd be great
He'd be
at
able
that.
to draw. He'd be able to draw yellow cards.
We
on
were
people.
so nice until that one.
Connor, what's your answer? It was your question, so what's your answer?
I'd love to see A.J. Brown play for the Phillies. Dude was drafted by the Padres.
He was, yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
And I love when they have the guys out to do like BP. All of them can't swing a baseball bat, and then A.J. Brown just goes out there and rakes.
You know what's wild? His swing didn't look like drafted type of swing, but listen, if he was drafted.
Yeah, he was drafted.
Yeah.
Bottom
I'd
line.
like
he was
to see
bottom line.
Hunter
Yeah, he's
Pence
good enough.
didn't look like he was
That's what I'm
drafted
saying.
type.
Hunter Pence
Right.
looked like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
Right, and yet he had actually a very good major league career, even though I hated him here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, so A.J. could run the outfield a little bit. I could see him play center.
Okay.
Track
I
the
wouldn't
ball
mind
down.
that.
Those are great answers.
Tyrese Maxey in one. Could Tyrese play another sport?
I
don't
think he
know
could
if
play.
I'm-
I think he could play football.
I was going to say he might be too small.
He might
though.
be too small for football.
Too small.
Well, what do you have
He's
him play?
small for the NBA. What are his
What do you have him playing?
measurables?
You have him being Devontae Smith?
Maybe.
Well,
a
no,
wideout
I
or-
was thinking Sproles,
Yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah.
but I also mean small, not just height. Like, is Tyrese Maxey getting up
I don't know.
after getting
Bro,
clocked by a linebacker?
I'm not sure.
Stop. He's 6'2", 200.
Okay.
He's not small.
Yeah, but he's not used to being hit.
Yes,
There's a difference.
Have you seen the foul calls he doesn't get?
That's good.
Yeah.
I think he could take a hit.
That's a good point. Let's go to. Go ahead. What?
I wanted to give a little thank you.
Okay.
I got good news yesterday, and my 6-month blood test came in. And I am clear. My Natera blood test came in.
Love
so
it.
I'm 6 months
That's
clear.
awesome.
And my lymphatic system has no cancer trace in it.
Nice.
So I want to thank everybody who supports us every single day on this show, but all the listeners who've helped me out and everything like that. I've made it through 6 months now. Dr. Sprandio called me yesterday on my way down to the Phillies game.
Oh, it's nice.
And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, he delivered the good news.
Right.
Then John Sprandio Jr. said, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm going down to the Phillies game. I guess you're just going to go back to saving people's lives from cancer.
Right.
While I go watch the Phillies game. But all my doctors, Dr. Schoon Young, Dr. Sprandio, and all the great, great people, I appreciate you so much and all the listeners who've supported me here. But 6 months, made it.
That's great.
So feeling better and better.
And we got to start.
Congrats, buddy.
We got to start planning something that we have talked about.
We're going to have an event that we want you to all be a part of coming up in November. We're teasing it, but we're going to tell you about it really soon.
Yeah, it's something that you called me about. Right around the start of the show.
And you
I think
were in.
before the show. Well, I don't think we even started the show
No,
yet.
we hadn't even started
We knew
yet.
the show was happening.
We knew the show was happening for like 4 months, and we kept our mouths shut.
Yeah, yes, we did.
Nobody else did.
Oh,
I
got pretty close the day before, but congratulations, man. That's
Thank you, buddy.
awesome to hear. It's the summer of John, right? You got to go to the Phillies. That's great that you got to go to the Phillies game too. That's great.
Last year I was stuck in my house.
Right, exactly.
I literally came to work and went home every day, spent time in my house. Now it's, can I get to a Phillies game? Can I get down the shore? Can I get to a casino? Whatever it is, I'm in. Just count me in.
Love that, man. All right, coming up next, the key three, the 3 best minutes from today's show, followed by our crossover with Ray Dunn, who's filling in for Bob Cooney. That comes your way next. It's Kincade and Salciunas, 97.5 The Fanatic.
ESPN's Adam.
We're with Ray Dunn, who's filling in for Bob, who took the early start to the Memorial Day weekend week.
I can't blame him.
I can't blame him either. Today's a beautiful day. I didn't feel like taking off because we're done in 13 minutes.
You're going to be get out of the left lane if you're heading down to Brigantine.
Isaiah Rogers, you better watch yourself.
And we thank Matteo Adenisi from Channel 6 ABC, for being here in studio with us today. And Matteo, in the 6 degrees of Bob Cooney, he knows Bob Cooney.
Of course. Who doesn't?
I mean, who doesn't?
All right, real quick, rapid fire. Well, not rapid fire. It's one question. What's the first drink you have this weekend, boys?
Tangerine tonic.
Ooh.
Pedialyte. I had a long day yesterday.
I'm just going to go Corona. Nice and easy. First sip on the beer, and then I'll go cocktails at night.
I'll probably go Miller Lite. Maybe. No, you know what?
I'm down the shore, so Corona tastes different.
You're going to go Mick Ultra.
Are you watching your figure?
See, I'm still trying to talk
around the bases.
I'm still trying to talk management here into bringing what I used to do, the Moscow Mule Fridays. You guys would be all in on it, right?
Well, Connor can't drink.
Yeah, Connor can't.
He produces the show.
Oh, he can't.
Board ops legally not allowed to.
But we can.
But we can. It's time now for the Key 3.
Now, the Kincade Salciunas Key 3. Today's best.
And a good Fanatic Holiday Friday show day. It's Kincade Salciunas. I don't care how dumb I sound.
Is that what you meant to say, or are you just stumbling
I don't know, dude. I'm stumbling because the Phillies just freaking got me fired up. They beat the Rangers again yesterday. They just keep on winning, Johnny.
I meet RJ, one of the fine people at Citizens Bank Park yesterday as I'm leaving the building.
Yes.
And he said, Mr. Kincade, I had a chance to say hello, and he goes, this is our life now. And it's all I could think of walking to the car, that a gentleman who's in there at Citizens Bank Park all the time goes, this is our life now.
Yeah.
That we're top dog. We're winning at an incredible rate. We're seeing a team that should be sticking around in our psyche for a while.
Yeah.
It's wild.
They should be.
It's wild. This is very hard to consume because it's so ridiculously awesome.
Baseball's such a great sport because it's so documented, right? Like, you have documents about baseball going back to the 1800s. It's a very, very old sport. So when you see teams have success like this, you see the wild stats, like it's the first time since then. The Phillies had their 7th sweep, right? They're 29-6 record in the last 35 games, and I credit NBC Sports Philadelphia for putting this out yesterday. Their 29-6 record in the last 35 games equals 1892. The 1892 Fightin' Phils for the best 35-game stretch in franchise
That was
history.
a good team, too.
But you're locked in on the 1892 Phillies. I mean, think about that. They are doing things. And I did a post for the website yesterday of the milestones that they've reached, the records that they're breaking. I need to update it because now they have the best 35-game stretch since 1892. So Darryl has had his eye on Paul George since his time with the Rockets, which was, 5-6 years ago? I've seen this with Daniel House Jr., P.J. Tucker, James Harden. He obsesses over players from 5-6 years ago.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah. I don't know what more you can say.
Look, if he's interested in Paul George from a basketball standpoint, okay. But when I read that portion of the story, he's had his eyes on him for 5-6 years now.
And Ballmer doesn't want to give him a max contract, the owner, and reportedly from NBA Today and others, Daryl Morey sort of made it known that he's willing to give him a max contract. It's so on brand.
Well,
it is so on brand.
It's the great Buster Olney.
And the other thing, too, that I think is a real factor for this team was the home field crowd. It's the best home field advantage in baseball. The relationship between the players and the crowd seems absolutely tangible to the point that I think on those days when players are flat, and again, I don't mean that as a criticism, that is human nature. We all go through it. On those days when they're flat, I think the crowd helps to lift them.
Alec Boehm doesn't get a hit yesterday.
Well, I think it might be time that they think about sending him down.
Yeah, they should send him down.
Send him down for a little refresher.
The hottest hitter in baseball goes 0 for 4, and yet the Phillies as a team still compile 12 hits. Question 1. Do you feel comfortable when your team is as good as the Phillies are, or are you one of those fans who's always waiting for the other shoe to drop? And question 2, are you one of those fans who prefers it when the team is the top dog or the underdog? Because you know how this city can be. There's a lot of people that go, yep, this is really great right now. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. Joel Embiid dropped 70 points. All right, well, let me see it come playoff time, which is totally fair. I get it. But there's a lot of people that see incredible moments or incredible stretches like this, and you're waiting for it to end instead of basking in the glory of it. I am basking in the glory right now.
I'm basking, but I'm going to answer your question, yes.
That you're comfortable?
I'm sort of.
You're
I'm
uncomfortable?
Yes, but I'm not uncomfortable in the way that I'm thinking it's going to end badly.
Okay, so what makes you uncomfortable? This is
used to it.
All right, that's the key three, the three best minutes from today's show. And instead of Bob Cooney today crossing things over because he's filling in for Bob is one Ray Dunn, the union guy.
Hey.
Hi, Ray.
What's up, Ray?
That's it. That's how I'm
going on, man. All right, so tell us what you got coming up, and then Connor, we have our bag of questions. He's going to pull out another one that we'll have like 2 minutes to discuss. But what do you got?
All right, we're going to get in, obviously, to the best team in baseball, and I think I've finally gotten fully swept up in it, and I'm ready to alter my expectation of what this regular season.
What do you mean you finally got swept up? You've been swept up for 3 years.
I've been swept. Well, I've been swept
Your
up with
bank
this team
account's been swept
forever.
up.
Yeah, well, that's gone. That's officially gone. I paid the credit card. Anyway, swept up in it in terms of a week and a half ago, we ran a poll about the breaking the franchise record for wins. And I was right. I was, okay, yeah, this is going to be a fun summer. This is going to be a team that we think can win a World Series. Do I think that they could get to that level of what we saw in 2011? I think I've made a full 180 in the last week and a half on this group.
Well, you'll be discussing that at 10 o'clock. We can't wait. Give us a question, Connor. We got to be quick about this. We got a minute.
Yes, we do. You get to throw out a first pitch at Citizens Bank Park, and you get to decide all the details. Who's catching it? Are you throwing from the rubber or in front of it?
Rubber. I ain't know. Rubber.
Who's catching it?
I don't care. Who can handle the heat?
Oh, my God. You pick, dude.
For me,
Is Connor answering the question?
It would be Jimmy Rollins.
Oh, so I thought it was somebody on the team.
It'd be Jimmy Rollins catching the ball. If I had the opportunity, I've thrown out a first pitch.
You know what?
And done it.
I'd go Stubbsy because he would motivate me when I go out on the mound.
It's a good pick.
I want Ryan Howard there, and I'm going right from the rubber.
Yeah, you can't go short of the rubber.
You cannot go
I'm
short.
throwing to Chooch. How did none of you guys pick Chooch?
Are you gonna be Brad Lidge and drop down your knees and let him jump on
He's
your
gonna
arms?
have to come get me.
Absolutely.
I'm throwing for the rubber, but I didn't need to say that.
That'll do it, Ray. We'll be listening at 10 o'clock.
Love it.
Good job, Ray. Hey, support life-saving cancer research. Join us and our generous partner, Pump Man Philly. Make a donation today to the American Association for Cancer Research. Go to 975thefanatic.com/AACR because I'm living 3 times over. Cancer research saves lives.
And congratulations on the great news you got yesterday.
Thanks to my doctors and nurses.
Absolutely. And enjoy yourself on Monday, you
too,
slacker. Connor and I will do whatever we can to fill in for you.
Don't burn the place down.
But we'll be back at it on Monday. Ray Dunn coming your way next. For now, Kincade and Salciunas.